eastern portions of Putnam County, and Monterey is right here. So here's the cell that's continuing to make its way again up Monterey Mountain, up the western side of the Cumberland Plateau, and will be working its way again due east into southern portions of Fentress County and northern portions of Cumberland County. So I'm going to go ahead and do a track. Let's see, the movement on this storm is east at 45 miles per hour. So we're going to go ahead and track this storm out for you. And again, this basically is the leading edge of strong to severe storms on the plateau here at 8:45. And from this point forward through about midnight, we got a high probability of severe weather across much of East Tennessee. So here's a look at some of the communities. I'm putting the box over here to the left. Wilder, 3 minutes from you. 8 minutes for you in Clark range or less. Fairfield Glade, 19 minutes or less. So Fairfield Glade, again, resort community, northern half of Cumberland County. We want you to go ahead and be prepared to move into your safe place. That is the lowest floor of your sturdy home or building, and away from outer walls and windows. A basement is the best. If you don't have a basement or some type of shelter, the small interior room on the lowest floor of your sturdy home or building. So like a bathroom, hallway, or closet, center part of the house. You want to put as many walls between you and the outside as you can. So a small interior room in the middle part of your house, okay, is the best place to be. That's your safe place. Nowhere to go whenever severe weather hits. So that's what we're looking at. And again, 29 minutes, Burrville, further down the road. So this is what we're looking at with the track this storm. Let me show you what we're looking at. Again, intense rainfall and also some very strong winds. Let me show you the potential winds, and also we'll take a look at what we're looking at. Yeah, we got a couple of different couplets. This is a velocity loop. We're looking at winds. So let me stop it right now and I'll show you what we're looking at. And this is the tornado warning that was issued for the storm near Monterey. Looks like we have a little bit of a split going on to the northeast of Monterey, another strong cell south of it. So we may be looking at, in fact, a very broad rotation, but nonetheless, this is severe winds. Both of these cells have winds in excess of 60 to 70 miles per hour likely. So that's heading toward Clark Range and again, eventually toward northern Cumberland County, including Fairfield Glade. So between Crossville, Clark Range, and Wilder, it will be tracking right along Highway 127, 5 to 10 minutes from now, if not less. So that's a look at our velocity. Let me show you the potential hail. And there's a little bit of a hail core. I'll stop that right there. Just to the southeast. It's into Cumberland County. Actually, not quite. That's still Putnam, but it's almost into Cumberland County. And basically just to the north of I-40 and coming up Monterey Mountain and continuing along Highway, looks like that's 62, I believe it is, coming in from Putnam County into northern Cumberland County. So that's what we're looking at as far as that. This is just a different product we like to look at to show it's what's going on in the atmosphere. But again, that's what we're looking at for the potential for this storm. It is a tornado warning for Cumberland and Fentress until 8:15. Again, I'm going to take that warning back off because I got a lot of activity going on. And let me widen out and show you the bigger picture. Look at all the lightning. I'm going to take a lightning off just a moment, but that shows you the energy in the atmosphere. Here's this line of storms just south of Jamestown, so Fentress and Cumberland County. Here you can see it better with this intense line moving in. That extends back toward McMinnville. Oh, by the way, if you have family or friends in Middle Tennessee, McMinnville, that is a potentially large tornado that's still on the ground. This is the one that was moving from Columbia and just south of Murfreesboro earlier, around Shelbyville and Manchester. Unfortunately, that's we call a rain-wrapped tornado, it looks like. It may have large hail with it. So that's south of McMinnville, and that's outside of our viewing area. But again, zooming back into the Cumberland Plateau, and this is what we're talking about for Cumberland and Fentress County. Again, a tornado warning. It is moving to the east at 45 miles per hour. And let's see, the other storm that's possible tornadoes, that other one I mentioned south of McMinnville. So again, you need to be able to be ready to take cover in northern Cumberland County and particularly around Clark Range. And as we look elsewhere, what we're talking about, just to give a bigger picture. So this is the first storm. Again, we're tracking possible tornado from Monterey heading toward Clark Range, Wilder, and Fairfield Glade in northern Cumberland County, near and just north of Crossville. But we do have a tornado watch that is in place until midnight. So the bigger picture of what we're talking about, and just to show you this while we're looking at this storm on the plateau, again, we'll continue to give you the latest track from basically from the plateau into the valley. Again, that's what we're looking at as far as this tornado watch that will be in place now through midnight. We also have a flood watch area-wide for heavy rainfall. So not only we're looking at severe weather between now and midnight, most areas in East Tennessee, heavy rainfall during this same time frame, but also through 7 a.m. Thursday morning. The watch is actually in place until 8 a.m. So could be looking at potential severe weather and flooding as we head through this evening and into the overnight hours. That's the potential of what we're looking at. Let me show you the risk. Again, this is pretty much matching up where we have the highest risk, and hopefully you can see that. You can take it full if you can't, if the box is covering up that, but that moderate significant risk is extending close to Cumberland County and toward the plateau. We have a level 3 enhanced risk that does include basically just about all of East Tennessee, and then surrounded by a slightly lower elevated risk. But all of East Tennessee, everywhere, has a decent chance for severe weather, again, as we head through tonight, and the rainfall could be excessive. So that's what we're looking at as far as the potential for severe weather and heavy rain and flooding. So that's the bigger picture, kind of what we've been talking about. All right, I'm going to zoom on in and take a look at what we're seeing. Again, this is the bigger picture for our showers and thunderstorms that continue to develop. And look at all the different boxes, and I'm going to show you a closer view here. The polygons that we have for tornado warnings in red and severe thunderstorm warnings in yellow. So here's the concern, folks, and this is kind of what we're talking about. Look at how that extends back from Cumberland County, Fentress County. That's one tornado warning. Let me stop the radar, and again, let me take off the lightning so we can have a little bit better vantage point of what we're looking at. But there's all the boxes. Again, a flash flood emergency for Nashville North, excessive rainfall. They've got some water rescues going on, some road closures from flooding. And look at all these different warnings. Again, tornado warning in red, severe thunderstorm warnings in yellow. Brand new warning looks like has also been issued for Ray and County down to Bradley County, Bledsoe County. So this is this whole line that's going to be warned. And we've got 2-inch hail, hen egg size hail and 70-mile-per-hour winds. That's, thank you, Cass. That's for that severe thunderstorm warning right here that's coming into Bledsoe County, southwestern Meigs, northern Sequatchie, Bledsoe, into portions of Ray. It's moving southeast at 40. Hen egg size hail, 2-inch diameter hail, 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts, damaging winds likely. Now, I tell you, this is what we're going to be watching. This is that same cell that had a potential tornado earlier. And so, yeah, very large hail. Let me show you that. Matter of fact, this is what we're looking at. There's the hail right there that's going to continue to make its way closer to the plateau, including Bledsoe County right there. So there it is, southeast of McMinnville. That's going to be heading southeast at 40 miles per hour. So heads up from Pikeville and eventually toward perhaps Dayton. Again, that particular storm is going to be tracking kind of east-southeast, likely through Bledsoe County, from Pikeville toward Ray County, Dayton, maybe up towards Spring City. We'll have to keep an eye on that for you. And so that's a look at the very latest there and potential damaging winds. Let's take a live picture of Crossville right now. We have a reporter, Shay, that's standing by. This is a live, our camera set up there. There's the lightning that's coming in, and we're stationed just outside, and it's going to autofocus here in a moment. It's looking at the street light there, but look at that lightning. This is in Cumberland County in Crossville, and it's at the Buc-ee's. That's where we have one reporter stationed there, again, for reference, and that's what we're looking at. Again, right there, I believe that's exit 320. But we're looking at the storms back to the west. These are the storms that are coming from Monterey toward Crossville. We're looking due west, pretty much. Look at that. Yeah, lightning popping in the sky. We've got a tornado warning that's for the northern half of Cumberland County, and including around Crossville and north Fairfield Glade, and continuing back up toward Maitland and coming from Monterey and also into Fentress County, including Clark Range and Wilder. So that's a live view from Crossville at the Buc-ee's there, just off the interstate in Cumberland County and Crossville, looking west at the storms that are continuing to track up into Cumberland County. So what we're looking at right here is the velocity. We've got some very strong winds. Let me show you the potential wind speed and the velocities right now. Just west of Clark Range, 73 miles per hour. I'll zoom on in because I know it's a little bit harder to see, and I'll give you the verbal information. I'll try to show you that visually as well. 79 mile per hour gust right now. And so at the very least, we got damaging winds and a possible tornado that's coming in to southern Fentress County, northern Cumberland. So again, a humble reminder that we've talked about throughout the day yesterday, throughout the day today. know where to go, know what to do. Go to your safe place if you're in southern Fentress and northern Cumberland County, between Crossville and up toward Jamestown, but Clark Range particularly. And again, your safe place is the lowest floor of your sturdy home or building, away from outer walls and windows. A small interior room like a bathroom, hallway, or closet in the center part of your house, as low as you can get and as far away from those outer walls you get, the middle part of the house. And hunker down, take cover there, wait for the storms to pass, and you should be in good shape. But damaging winds, possible tornado appear likely with this storm that's coming in from Putnam County into Fentress and Cumberland County. So right along Interstate 40 and moving due east at 45 miles per hour. So that's a look at the latest as far as what we're looking at there. Again, we could be looking at also some large hail as far as that particular storm. And let me take you back and show you again what we're looking at. There's a look at those warnings on the plateau, and we've got the counties in red. That's the tornado watch until midnight. We do have, is that an upgraded tag?
Because the 70.
On the Ray County. Okay, thank you, Cass. Yeah, we've got different information. So we've got a tornado warning for Fentress and Cumberland County. There's that severe thunderstorm warning just being extended now into Morgan County. And so here's what we're looking at for the one in Morgan County, in Scott County. This does have a tornado possible tag with it. And so from the National Weather Service in Morristown, both Morgan and into Scott County, we got a severe storm with some rotation. For Morgan and Scott, that severe thunderstorm warning will be in place until 9:45. So we're going to have a lot of different information that's popping up on the screen. I'll go through one by one. Morgan and Scott, severe thunderstorm warning, 9:45. Be prepared to move in your safe place, and that would include, let's see, I'll give you the specific counties south of Robbins, Wartburg, and also to the south and west of Norma. So Wartburg, Rugby, and continuing Sunbright, Lansing. You're in a severe thunderstorm warning till 9:45. There's Fairfield Glade. You have a severe thunderstorm warning with a possible tornado. Again, that's going to be in place until 8:15 Central Daylight Time. Let me give you some more information on this tornado warning from Nashville. And again, this is the storm that's coming in, moving east-southeast at about 45 miles per hour, and we do have that potential for nickel-sized hail in addition to a possible tornado. That from Monterey to Clark Range, far northern Cumberland County. Now for Mayland, Crossville, and Fairfield Glade, severe thunderstorm winds are also possible. So this is the zone right here. Again, let me stop the radar from looping, and I'll take off lightning just temporarily so you can see what we're looking at. Let me go ahead and take off the warnings as well. There's the severe thunderstorm and tornado warnings. Again, here's a look at the storm that's going to be tracking, again, pretty much to the east at 45 miles per hour. So there's a look at our future track. That's 45 miles per hour right there. So here's some of the communities that will be in the path of the storm from Fentress into Cumberland County, moving into Morgan, Scott. We've got Stockton in 3 minutes, Fairfield Glade 7 minutes, Deer Lodge 9 minutes, Rugby 12 minutes from right now, Sunbright 15 minutes from you. So within 15 minutes, Sunbright, severe thunderstorm winds are likely in your area. Lansing 19 minutes, Wartburg 25 minutes, excuse me. Huntsville in Scott County, 28 minutes from right now. Storms moving on to the plateau are severe with some damaging winds possible. Let's take another live look in Crossville. This is at the Buc-ee's. We have a reporter, Shay Smith, standing by with a live look at what we're seeing right now. And again, looking up in the sky. And Shay is at a safe location right now and is prepared to move indoors, obviously, as the storms get closer. Right now, they're in far, again, central. This is in Crossville. Storms are still west of Crossville, so still safe. But looking off to the west-northwest, that's what we're looking at. And you can see the lightning really filling the sky there. So this is a live look in Crossville. Again, we are tracking strong to severe storms. Now, as of about 20 to 25 minutes ago, got our first warnings for the plateau. And this is what we're pretty much expecting between right now and midnight as we see the chances for severe weather continuing as we head into the rest of this evening for the rest of East Tennessee. So let me get back to the radar. We have other warning information that's coming for Spring City down toward Dayton, Ray County, and Bledsoe County. We got a considerable tag. This means there could be destructive winds in excess of 70 miles per hour. So a little bit of an upgrade from your normal severe thunderstorm thunderstorm warning, which is 60-mile-per-hour winds or quarter-size hail or larger. Those are the two things make a storm severe. We got 70-mile-per-hour winds possible, basically coming out of Bledsoe County into Ray County and continuing for northern and parts of Sequatchie County as well, if you're watching us there. So, and also extends down to Hamilton. So we got a severe thunderstorm warning with damaging winds likely coming onto the plateau and pretty much extending along this line up toward Crossville, again over to Wartburg, and continuing into Fentress County, including Clark Range. So this is a look at what we're seeing right now. Again, as far as the latest wind speeds, let me get back over to switch radar. We're seeing winds that are in excess of 70 miles per hour. Clark Range, southern Fentress into Cumberland County. And let me stop the radar. I was just sampling that a moment ago. I got 73 and 79. Now, some of that could be elevated, but with the torrential rainfall, a lot of times those strong winds are going to be transferred down the surface. And so that'll bring them down. There's another 73 mile per hour wind right now in northwestern Cumberland County, and particularly, and that's a 70 mile per hour gust. Again, severe winds in Clark Range right now. So Clark Range, definitely, you can hear it, see it, need to be in your safe place. Hunker down. In southern Fentress County, you have a tornado warning, again, that will be in place. It's continuing until 8:15 Central Daylight Time. So severe damaging winds, possible tornado coming into southern Fentress and also northern Cumberland County. Now elsewhere, here's what we're looking at. These are the storms that are again lining up across portions of the plateau, as you can see that there. I'll just use the telestration. We're good right there, folks. Here's what we're seeing from Williamsburg, Kentucky, Huntsville, Scott County, again down toward Robbins, Wartburg, Lansing, Deer Lodge, Sunbright, in Morgan County, also Fentress County, again Clark Range, Wilder, Crossville, Fairfield Glade, Mayland, Plainview, and down toward Pikeville and heading towards Spring City and Dayton. If I mention your city or anywhere you live somewhere close to those, you need to be taking cover and get into your safe place if you aren't already. And by the way, make sure your phones and tablets devices are charged up, number one, and hopefully you'll maintain power. But have a way to get severe alerts. We have our 10 News app. You can and on your phone you can enable and the alerts to be able to receive those. So make sure you have a way to receive warning information, multiple ways. So a lot of times we use our phones. Make sure those are turned on. Make sure you're signed up and eligible right there to receive the severe weather alerts. Over there's hidden, here's visible. And so that's what we're looking at for the our severe weather alerts. You can download our 10 News app, and right there, here's the information. Okay. And there's you can scan that barcode right there, QR code. So that's what we're looking at right there. You can scan that on your screen. We'll leave it up a second. And you can also, go to the Apple Store or Google Play and download our 10 News app and sign up for severe weather alerts. And you see us do this often, but in case you haven't done that already, I'm sure many of you have, but if you haven't done that, tonight would be a good night to go ahead and have that. If you have a NOAA weather radio, also a good thing to have that thing turned on, and you can set it for your specific county. We have a new tornado warning that's coming now into Bledsoe County. Let me go ahead and show you that. That's one that could be extended into Ray County that we're going to be watching. And just to bring everybody up to date again with the latest information, we do have a tornado warning that is in place for southern Fentress, northern Cumberland counties, and again, that's going to be in place until 8:15 Central Daylight Time. We've got potential destructive winds and very damaging winds of 70 miles per hour plus that could certainly do damage as we coming onto the plateau right now. And this was one of the main concerns, this 1-2 punch we're talking about, severe weather on the front end, heavy rain and flooding on the back end. So this is the front end. This is the initial round of our next round of storms. We had one early this morning that did large hail, baseball-sized hail in Bean Station. That was earlier today. And then we had about a 6 to 7 hour break. Unfortunately, we got sunshine and heating, and that's keeping the fuel in the atmosphere basically enable it to be sustained. These storms packing a punch. So that's what we're looking at that's coming onto the plateau, including in Crossville. So here's a look at the very latest. Again, we could be looking at some larger hail that's approaching between Clark Range and Crossville, crossing right over Highway 127 right now. And as far as the severe winds, between Clark Range and Wilder, let me zoom on in and show you exactly what we're looking at. Highway 127, that's a look at 70 mile per hour plus winds that we're looking at coming into Fentress County. So Grimsley, Wilder, Clark Range, south of Jamestown, heading toward Deer Lodge. If you're watching this right now from Deer Lodge, Lansing, Sunbright, Rugby, you got severe winds. See all those bright blue colors? We're between Morristown and radar. Basically on the plateau, we have overlapping radar. So if you ever see us move left or right, it'll switch back and forth. But let me just show you some of the winds that's being cranked out here. I'll see if it'll show that up here. May not, and I'll switch over to different radar. Here we go. All right, so this is what we're looking at. Again, the potential severe winds are estimated to be, over 70 miles per hour. So that's what we're looking at with the latest velocity scan right now. Again, some of those winds definitely packing a punch just to the northeast of Clark Range. Our model forecast is going to take these severe winds and a line of severe storms into the valley between right now and 11 p.m. So here, we're going to continue to track these storms eastward as we get into the rest of our evening. And again, Cassie and all with me, we have meteorologist Mike Simon, who's actually out, who's going to be covering storms and storm damage for us as well. We got reporter Shay Smith that's in Crossville right now at the Buc-ee's. So we've got crews that are going to be out and about bringing us the very latest, giving us the latest pictures and video of what we're seeing. And we're going to show you live looks throughout this evening, so you can stay tuned to see more of that. But again, we're going to have multiple information and folks coming in giving us that latest on what we're seeing. We want to keep them safe as well. We have crews out in the field, including in Crossville on the Plateau, and we're going to do our best to keep them safe as we head into and through the rest of this evening. Okay, so let me take you back to what we're seeing right now. Again, tornado warning for Fentress County until 8:15. Let me take a look at the very latest and show you what the National Weather Service in Nashville is saying. Again, Cumberland and Fentress, the tornado warning has been extended actually until 8:45 now. So let me see if I can show that graphically, see if that'll pop up. We have an extension of that that's going to go until 8:45, just a few minutes after, and that's central time, I should say, just after 9 p.m. A severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located 9 miles north of Crossville, moving east at 30 miles per hour. So that's the latest from the National Weather Service in Nashville. Again, there's a lot of lightning in the core of this storm. Let me take off the lightning, and I'll even take off the warning so we can see this storm better. And I'm going to show you the very latest velocity. But potential tornado was located just 9 miles north of Crossville, between Crossville and Clark Range, passing over Highway 127. So certainly that's where it is right now. Looking downstream, again, if you live in Fairfield Glade, as we've been talking about, need to hunker down. Need to be in your safe place. We've got 70 mile per hour plus winds and a possible tornado moving in, and that's going to likely produce damage. So that's what we're looking at. The hail size is penny size or less, and yes, and we will continue to track that. Okay, Cassie Knowles with me in the Weather Center, and Cassie, I'm going to let you hop in, take over for a little bit, and we are looking at, again, these storms packing a punch on the plateau, and will continue to be moving into the valley over the next couple of hours. Cass?
That's right. We've been watching this as we've gone throughout the evening to monitor the storms as they developed in the Nashville area and have been marching to the east. Well, now they're here. And so now that we're into this coverage, we're going to stay in this coverage as long as we possibly need to. If we take a wide view of this storm, just to give you a kind of a setup and just a general idea of how this is all progressing here across East Tennessee, well, look at all of those warnings back off to our west right now, folks. That is an indication of how strong this system is. Moving out of Middle Tennessee, coming onto the Cumberland Plateau. We also have activity developing down near the Chattanooga area. And that's something else that we've been noticing, is that we also have storms that are coming in from the southwest. So we've got our southern storms down near Chattanooga that are going to be coming to the north. They're going to be merging with this line of storms that's now working its way out of Middle Tennessee into East Tennessee. That extends all the way up into southeast Kentucky. And if I give you an even wider view of what we've got going on, remember we talked about how there are multiple rounds. This is the first round coming in. That's going to pass through over the next several hours. And then look at this, what's developing back off here to the west, over from southern parts of Arkansas, I should say Missouri, down into northwest Arkansas and back into Oklahoma. That's going to be the secondary line that's going to come through later tonight. We also just have an abundant amount of lightning associated with these storms. The atmosphere is very charged. Also, when we tend to have a lot of lightning, that gives us an idea that we also have very large hail or just a large amount of hail. Those stones bumping together is part of what helps create the charges to get that lightning going. And with so much lightning across the area, that helps to indicate that these storms are not weakening as they're moving in our direction. And in fact, they are maintaining their strength. And remember all that sunshine we had this afternoon? That was fuel. So now these storms, they're moving into this favorable environment, and that's why we're starting to see the warnings popping up. As Todd mentioned, not only are we concerned about the severe threat coming in, but the flood threat as well. We already have a flash flood warning in effect for Cumberland County, and it just started raining. So that should give you an idea that the National Weather Service is already looking ahead and saying it's about to rain. That means that we're going to be seeing the potential for the flooding really starting to increase here. It looks like the National Weather Service in Nashville has extended the tornado watch for Cumberland and Fentress County. Originally, that was expected to expire at 9 p.m. Central Time. That has now been extended to 3 a.m. Central Time. Our current tornado watch in our eastern time zones for our National Weather Service office in Morristown go until midnight. We could see that extended depending on how all of this evolves as we go throughout the evening. So let me show you the current watches that we have in effect here for the area. Tornado watch in effect for all of the counties that you see shaded in red here until midnight, except Cumberland and Fentress are now until 3 a.m. Central Time. We also have a flood watch in effect for our entire viewing area because as we go throughout this event, the threat for flooding is just going to grow exponentially across the area. And in addition to the tornado threat and the flood threat across the area, damaging winds going to be a huge concern. As we were talking about, that storm coming into Ray and Meigs County could have wind gusts up to 70 miles per hour. And hail. Earlier this morning in Bean Station, we had hail that was the size of baseballs, and I saw a picture of one that measured at least 3 inches, which is the size of a teacup or an apple. That very large hail can cause extensive damage to cars, to vegetation and agriculture, and to homes as well. So if any warnings are issued for your area tonight, whether it's a tornado warning or a severe thunderstorm warning, these storms could pack a punch. So we need you to act immediately. Go to your safe place, lowest level of your home, away from doors and windows. Let's walk through the latest warnings that have been issued across the area and give you kind of an update for what we're seeing right now. Let me go ahead and stop this radar here. Let's see if we can hop on in. We got a lot going on the radar, so that kind of keeps things a little bit on the busy side as well. So let me try to kind of clear this up for you just a little bit. So first, we have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect until 9:45 p.m. Eastern Time for Morgan and Scott County. That is for the potential of damaging winds up to 60 miles per hour with that storm. We also have a tornado warning for the cell that is moving into that area. Now remember that Cumberland and Fentress are covered by the National Weather Service office in Nashville. Scott and Morgan are covered by the National Weather Service office in Morristown. So sometimes you get a difference of opinions on what's going on here. The Weather Service office in Nashville has issued the tornado warning for the same cell that Morristown has issued the severe thunderstorm warning for. Either way, that is a cell that we are watching for the potential of damaging winds coming into this area, and we are seeing rotation with that cell coming right through northern portions of Cumberland County right now. Also keep in mind that the Weather Service office in Morristown and the Weather Service office in Nashville, their radar beams go up as they move away, and right over the plateau is where the two beams kind of come together at their highest points. So we are scanning very high in that storm. That means that the winds that you're seeing here may not be reaching all the way to the ground, but that's why the warnings have been issued just in case they could possibly reach. And we're seeing velocities showing up right now in that 60 to 65 mile per hour range within the storm, maybe 70 to 75. Remember, that's elevated, that's not down at the surface. But we also have kind of that general broad rotation showing up with this cell right in this area. And if I make this move back just a little bit right there, see how that's kind of pushing out toward Fairfield Glade? That is where we're concerned about that potential rotation right now. So just north of the Fairfield Glade area, possibly could be seeing rotation that may lead to a tornado in that area, which is why that tornado warning is in effect for that particular location right now. Based on what that looks like, I wouldn't be surprised if we see that warning extended into parts of Morgan County here. So Wartburg, heads up. I know you folks in Sunbright have recently had to deal with a tornado, and tonight this is the last news that you possibly want to hear right now. But you need to go ahead and be taking shelter in the lowest level of your home in a sturdy building, away from doors and windows if you can, in advance of this storm affecting your area. Even if it doesn't produce a tornado, it could be producing damaging winds in your area. So either way, a dangerous storm is moving in your direction. So please take shelter if you're under the severe thunderstorm warning or the tornado warning. Then a little farther to the south, this is our big concern for not only the wind threat, but also the hail threat. This is the storm that could be producing hen egg to lime size hail. That's about 2 inches in diameter. And with that large hail core, when that collapses and all that hail comes down to the ground, not only could the hail cause damage, but that pushes the air out of the way. And that's where you get the damaging wind threat when you have a storm like this. Keep in mind, it's also very saturated outside, so this could be moisture loading, I guess, or precip loading, making this look worse than it is. But where you see that bright red color there coming into Bledsoe County, and especially those purples and pinks, that's where we could have some of that possibly 2-inch or larger hail. So heads up in Dayton.
Yeah, Cass, that's some pretty large hail. And real quick, if you don't mind, let's go ahead and get right back up to that northern Cumberland County. And you were showing that possible rotation, and it looks like that is rain wrapped a little bit. And that's the tornado warning. And you were talking about the high winds in excess of 70 to 75 miles per hour. So yeah, this is the potential rotation we're seeing near and maybe just a hair north of Fairfield Glade, but you need to be in your safe place. Fairfield Glade, northern Cumberland County, tracking east at 45 miles per hour. So northern Cumberland County, southern Fentress into Morgan County, we have a possible tornado, and damaging winds appear likely. So again, be prepared to take cover northeastern Cumberland County and moving due east into Morgan County. We're going to go ahead and track this storm for you. And again, there's a look at our velocity scan. Could have that rotation showing up, particularly just to the north and east of Crossville and Cumberland County. And this storm, again, moving east at 45 miles per hour. These are some of the communities. So these are the communities that could be in the path of this potential tornado. We're going to be tracking these storms again throughout the evening and even into part of the overnight hour. So it's going to be a long evening and a little bit of a long night ahead. So be prepared to take cover if severe weather affects your community. And these are the communities right now. Obed Junction in 9 minutes. You got Frankfort 6 minutes right now. Catoosa 15 minutes. Wartburg in 22 minutes. Again, there's the possibility of at least some damage and winds, and perhaps some tornadic winds are possible with this cell. Okay, that's a look at velocity. Let's show you any potential hail. We had the potential for penny to nickel size hail, and it looks like that's still the same potential. Again, the atmosphere earlier, both here in East Tennessee and Middle Tennessee, capable of producing large hail. So nickel to penny size hail, some large hail in northern sections of Cumberland County. And again, the latest radar, and we'll take you to that as well. We are seeing torrential rainfall with a lot of lightning. Here's the tornado warning for Cumberland and Fentress until 8:45 Central Daylight Time. Of course, that's 9:45 Eastern. So for about another 30 minutes or so, 25 minutes or so from right now, that's what we're looking at for that tornado warning, just under 25 minutes. So tornado warning, northern Cumberland, southern Fentress, severe thunderstorm warning, Morgan County up into Scott County. Again, basically from around Norma, Robbins down to Wartburg, Sunbright, Lansing, Deer Lodge in Morgan County, and from Clark Range to Fairfield Glade and near and just north of Crossville. This is the potential tornado and severe weather that's moving into your neck of the woods. So you need to be prepared to get into your safe place if you're watching us right now around Fairfield Glade up to Clark Range and in toward Deer Lodge in Morgan County, heading toward Wartburg and up to Sunbright. Again, and if you've watched us and talked about this before, on the Cumberland Plateau where it's somewhat flatter on top, that's where a lot of storms, the climatology this is a favored area for more sometimes tornadoes than even what we'd see in other parts of the valley. So you know the drill. You've had to do this before to take cover. And so here we are again, a potential tornado with damaging winds and flooding, very heavy rain, a lot of lightning. We could be talking about power outages from the lightning and the high winds. So, make sure your devices are charged up, have a way to receive severe weather alerts. And again, take cover from this storm right now in Fentress and Cumberland County and moving into Morgan County. Cass, if you would, can we go back to velocity and we'll just show that. There's the look at the storms and the lightning that will likely be seen far to the west from downtown Knoxville all the way up on the plateau. And we are going to be tracking those storms as they continue to make their way due east. But that's what's happening in Knoxville. Again, the storm still to our west on the plateau. But between now and about 10 to 11 p.m., we're going to see severe weather rolling into other parts of East Tennessee. But there's a look at, you can just see from the lightning right there. That alone shows you the intensity of this storm. And a lot of times when you have rotation and a possible tornado, you have a lot of positive lightning, a lot more energy, and you could have some hail. And a lot of times you get all those involved. So near Crossville, and just to the north there, maybe around Fairfield Glade right now, as Cassie's going back and forth. And Cassie, feel free to chime in, but that's what we're looking at. These are severe winds showing up. Again, we're going back and forth to Morristown and Nashville's radar, but look, this, where you see the blue colors here, could be elevated because, yes, we are overlapping up on the plateau, but more than likely, seen some of these severe winds reaching the surface. And again, we've got some weaker rotation showing up right there. Possibility of a tornado that's coming through the northern portions of Cumberland County, and will continue to track due east into Morgan County shortly. So this is what we're tracking right now. Again, there's those winds close to 70 miles per hour, could have 70 to 75 mile per hour winds. And notice it's not just in one spot. This is throughout much of Cumberland County. So even if you're watching us down toward Lake Tansy and south of the airport in Crossville, and you need to be prepared to take cover because you've got some strong to damaging severe thunderstorm winds. So not just going to focus on one cell, although that is the potential tornado and maybe the highest winds, but the strong severe winds spread out across much of Cumberland and Fentress County. And look at all the lightning showing up within that core. So again, tornado warning. If you're just now watching us, you've been out this evening, perhaps coming back in, maybe you got the alert on your phone, looking at radar. What's going on? The first initial line of severe weather is moving on to the plateau. It will continue to move eastward into much of the valley over the next 1 to 2 hours. So basically, we've been tracking this for about the last 45 minutes or so as it's starting to develop on the plateau. Widening out. Yep, this tells a story. This is what Middle Tennessee was experiencing earlier this evening. And we were watching it around the Nashville area earlier, right there, and going, oh boy, it's all moving east. And so this is kind of what's moving from on the plateau and even down toward Chattanooga and basically all the way up just south of Jamestown and south and west of Huntsville. It does extend up into Kentucky. Now for our Kentucky viewers, we have heavy rain and strong storms. Looks like they're just below severe levels, but you could see a flooding. And that's the other pretty much almost a given, if you will, in this type of atmosphere. Heavy flooding rains are going to be a concern area-wide. So whether we see severe weather in one place or not, it looks like we're going to have the potential to see heavy rain and flooding in addition to severe storms. But right now, one of the initial main concerns is the severe potential along this leading edge, and that's what we're seeing moving on to the plateau. This is going to continue work its way eastward, so across parts of the valley from Knoxville down toward Athens and up toward Jellicoe, we will continue to see this line on the plateau moving eastward. And all forms of severe weather are possible. Damaging winds, even a few tornadoes possible, some large hail, and torrential rainfall that could lead to flooding. And of course, you see the energy in the atmosphere, a lot of lightning. And lightning is always a clue of where the strongest storms are located. You got a lot of rising motion in the atmosphere. So clearly, just north of Crossville between there and Clark Range. Also, this storm that was moving from south of McMinnville, moving into Bledsoe County, possible tornado, and that's got another cell back toward Manchester. So downstream, if you're watching this from Ray, Meigs County, eventually McMinn County, we got some storms upstream, a couple of different strong cells that are going to be moving toward you from Dayton to Spring City and from Decatur to 10 Mile, including Big Springs, the Watts Bar Reservoir, and from Athens to Nauta, and maybe including, of course, portions of Roane, eventually Monroe County. So that's something we're going to be watching as these cells continue to intensify and moving onto the plateau and now are making their way into the valley. Once again, the bigger picture, we have a tornado watch that is in place until midnight tonight. This does include from Cumberland County, Crossville, to Knoxville. It includes the Plateau and the Central and Southern Valley. Again, that's a tornado watch in place until midnight tonight, and this more or less kind of defines where the greatest chance for severe weather is expected, but we have that chance for severe weather even outside the watch area. This is just where it looks like the most favored areas would be, if you will, but severe weather is certainly possible anywhere in East Tennessee throughout tonight, and basically through at least midnight for most areas. And then after midnight, we'll still have a chance for some severe weather, and then particularly we'll transition from a severe threat and mixed severe and flooding, heavy rain, to a heavy rain and flooding threat as we get into the early Thursday morning hours. So when I said it's going to be a little bit of a longer night, that's why. Severe weather through at least midnight, heavy rain and flooding possible overnight into early tomorrow morning. So a little bit of light rain well out ahead of this system, but this is our futurecast. Yeah, we can go ahead and take a look at our timeline if you would like, Cass. Our futurecast will show these storms. Again, here we are at coming up on 9:30 right now, and so it's a little fast, right? That shows 9, so it's a little fast, but let's go ahead and walk that forward. Here's this particular model, a different one that's probably a little bit slower. So in between, looks like these storms are going to be moving into the Knoxville area, probably closer, maybe 10 p.m., maybe a little bit after or so forth. And there's a look past midnight into 1 a.m. eastern areas, and look at all the heavy rainfall and pockets of severe weather. So that's that mix of a combination of severe and heavy rain and flooding. So we have to deal with both of those. Damaging winds could produce power outages. That's why make sure you have your devices charged up, and be prepared if power goes out, you have your flashlight handy. We don't really recommend the candles as much. It can be a little bit of an issue there, but flashlights, you know, so you can see if the power goes out. Have your devices charged up. Have a way to receive the alerts on your phone or tablet, and make sure before you go to bed tonight, you have a way to receive those alerts. So if you have any type of severe weather alerts issued, you'll be prepared and be able to take cover. There's our Thursday morning. I think this model updated, this particular one. It's a little bit slower in general, but the spirit of what it's showing is probably valid, that we're going to have that chance for heavy rain and flooding through early Thursday morning. And this is just ahead of the cold front, and this is 6 a.m. It may be 4 or 5 a.m. It may be a little slow, but again, the heavy rain, still some strong winds. Then that will start to taper off again as we go later in the morning, and Thursday afternoon looks dry. But we could be dealing with flooding for a period of time into our Thursday. That's a concern, and especially across our area, but particularly once we get into tomorrow morning into our mountains and foothills. So you're still waiting on the storms from Knoxville east, and many of us are still waiting on, but they're coming, and they could be packing a punch with severe winds and heavy rains leading to flooding. We just want you to be prepared and know where you'll go to stay safe tonight into tomorrow morning. If you live in a flood-prone area for later on, we have a flood watch until 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. If you live in a flood-prone area, you need to be prepared to seek higher ground as we go later overnight into tomorrow morning, because the type of rainfall rates that we're going to be seeing could lead to flooding. This is our model forecast showing generally, 2 to 3 inches plus. We could easily see 2 to 4 inches across our region overnight tonight. We average just over 4 inches for the whole month of May. So that gives you an idea of the potential rainfall that's falling out of the clouds onto the Earth's surface. And we've already had over an inch of rain so far today. So if we tack on another 2 or 3, yeah, that's the potential, and that's the flooding outlook. And we have actually quite a significant risk for flooding that's coming off the plateau and parts of the valley from the Weather Prediction Center. So severe weather and heavy rain and flooding certainly possible. All right, back to the storms that are between Clark Range and Crossville and Fairfield Glade. Again, they're moving east at 45 miles per hour. Still have a lot of that cluster of lightning. Wartburg and Deer Lodge and Lansing, you're seeing these storms moving into your neck of the woods with the leading edge of some high winds. That does extend up into Scott County. Morgan and Scott County, you have a severe thunderstorm warning until 9:45. And again, some of those stronger storms do extend down toward Oakdale and also Harriman, just kind of on the southern edge. So also we do want to mention we have a flash flood warning. So Cumberland County, shaded in green, we have a flash flood warning for the very heavy rainfall that you're seeing now and what's to come. Let's go ahead and show power outages coming in from Middle Tennessee. And again, what we're seeing in Middle Tennessee, It's a little bit of a clue, flag waving, if you will, of what we could potentially see in East Tennessee, because same type of storms they saw in Middle Tennessee, we could see in East Tennessee. So let me show you, we're showing some of these power outages. That was, wow, let's see, county out, I don't know which county this is. That's Smith County. We'll do one at a time. Over 5,000. You can just kind of go ahead and scroll through them. Again, I'm just looking at the outages. Over 3,000 here, 3,500 in Rutherford, including Murfreesboro area. Coffee County, over 8,000. Yes, some of the orange ones, over 6,600. That's in Marshall County, southern parts of Middle Tennessee. And so again, throughout much of Middle Tennessee, we're seeing quite a few power outages in the thousands, at least, ranging generally from 1,000 to, it looked like just over 6,000 to 7,000 in one of those there. So that's a look at Davidson County. That's Nashville, just under 2,500 customers without power. For a large county, it's actually not too bad, but they had some significant storms moving through. But again, that has been producing power outages, number one, and flooding. And if we look at our potential impacts, and we've talked about this before, those are the two highest impacts from this event. Look at all these storms lined up. Again, I know this radar is very busy. We've got yellow severe thunderstorm warnings, some red tornado warnings. We've got green flash flood warnings. We got flash flood watches, we got tornado watches, but the main concern right now is the tornado warning, Fentress, Cumberland, and that storm is moving into Morgan County. That's in place, again, until 8:45 Central Daylight Time. So about 10 more minutes of this tornado warning, and we'll continue to track. And again, I know we're interrupting programming tonight. Again, we're under an enhanced level 3 out of 5 risk. We have a tornado watch, a flood watch, and a high probability for impactful weather for most of our region. So that's why we're bringing you severe weather and long form coverage, okay? And don't have a lot of these events as you go throughout the year. We'll have them occasionally, but this is one of those nights that we're bringing you longer form coverage simply because we want everyone to stay safe. And most everybody's going to be impacted, at least before the evening or night is done. And so we want you to be safe. There's a look at the severe thunderstorm warning. Again, considerable threat with damaging winds in excess of 70 miles per hour for Hamilton, Ray, and Sequatchie counties, and maybe some hail. These are excessive winds. It could be greater than 70 miles per hour coming into southern portions of Ray County. Also, if we notice up here in Cumberland County, that's the strong to severe winds also be located up in Cumberland County. I know the lights just went dim. Just probably a little bit of effect there. That's my head up. Generator's kicking in. Thank you so much, Alyssa. You know what that is? That's the generator kicking in. Les, we were communicating and said, let me know when these storms start to get closer, and I'm going to kick on our generator. And so that's exactly what just happened. All right. So anyway, here's a look at that. Cast focus in. We were looking at that same thing. This one right here. That's a look at a rotating storm, possible tornado that's going to be moving through southern Bledsoe County and south of Pikeville and heading toward Dayton and Ray County. So again, Pikeville is right about here, and that's not showing up. That's about where it is. And that potential rotating tornadic thunderstorm crossing over 127 in southern Bledsoe County with some large hail. There's Pikeville. And again, that will be heading toward probably Dayton, moving east-southeast about 45 miles per hour. So again, this is in southern Ray County, but if you're watching this in parts of Bledsoe and southern Ray County and the Southern Valley viewers, just a heads up. And again, I would go ahead and say Ray, Meg, so Dayton to Decatur, Big Springs, and eventually toward Athens and Inglewood. That could be making its way at least through southern sections of McMinn County. So we want you to be prepared and keep you updated on that storm. Thank you, Cassie, for the track there. And again, you can see severe thunderstorm warnings in yellow until 10:15. Those warnings are lining up. Again, it is a line. It's all up and down from Chattanooga all the way up to Huntsville in Scott County. Actually, it's all the way up into Williamsburg and London Corbin. So this line, again, very busy radar tonight. We've got more of the storms making their way from Middlesboro up to Harlan County, Kentucky, Bell County, Lee County, Virginia. Again, wow, look how quickly these things starting to spread out. Now we're starting to even see the lightning popping and showing up in Knoxville, in Knox County. We'll take you to our downtown Knoxville camera in a moment. Also, more storms in Campbell County. Those are increasing. So Campbell County from La Follette, Fincastle, heading over towards Speedwell, Highway 63 in the Powell Valley, going from Campbell County, yeah, right on cue, there it is, and from Campbell County into Claiborne County, again, the Powell Valley, looks like those storms are really increasing. Wow. I'll step out of the way. We're all looking at this together. This is our downtown Knoxville camera. It's atop the Sturkey Lofts building. And we're looking due west. And again, especially, it's easier to see the lightning at night, of course, because it's dark, and, you know, lightning travels much faster than sound. So you may see the lightning and not hear the thunder. It's because the storm's still too far away. It's a thunderstorm. No such thing as heat lightning. Just go ahead and cover our bases there. But we can see lightning off in the distance, and these storms are going to be coming right toward you and us as it moves from west to east, again, between right now and within the hour. We're already seeing these storms, lightning spreading out ahead of it. So the impactful severe weather is possible. Again, damaging winds could lead to power outages. Heavy rain could lead to flooding. Those are our two main concerns tonight. We do have the possibility for some large hail and even a few tornadoes. The overall main threat, though, is the damaging wind threat and the heavy rain threat. So all modes of severe weather possible, and including, some impressive lightning in the western sky. We also have, again, a reporter, Shay, who's in Cumberland County, a reporter who's going to be giving us some live reports. By the way, coming up at 10 o'clock on Fox 43, we'll be having our live hour-long newscast. And, of course, at 11 o'clock, stay tuned. We'll have our update later tonight at 11 on WBIR and 10 News right here. So, again, we'll have those full updates and the latest weather and news and everything in between coming up later on tonight. It's certainly been an active day. So, Cassie, let's just go walk up the line here. Flash flood warning, Crossville. Tornado warning, northern Cumberland, Fairfield Glade, back to Clark Range, Wartburg, Deer Lodge, Lansing, Sunbright, and again, maybe some hail, but velocity showing some damaging wind gusts possible. Where you see the shade of blue, that could be 60 to 70 mile per hour winds coming in toward Deer Lodge and to the north and west of Wartburg as well. So Highway 127 going from Crossville up to Jamestown, and this is Highway 27 going from Wartburg up toward Robbins and Huntsville. Look at that. Cassie Knoll and our weather center's doing the velocity scan, and we got severe winds of 68 miles per hour around Deer Lodge and just to the north and west of Wartburg and coming into Morgan County. So again, these are impactful severe storms that are likely going to be producing some wind damage. And keep in mind, we've got not only the severe threat, we've got the heavy rain. So when the soil gets saturated, the root system in trees get weakened. So when that wind's blowing, and here we are in May in the heart of spring and moving through it, all the trees are leafed out. So the trees, when they're leafed out, act like a sail, and it catches all that wind. So it can blow that tree around real easy. And I'm not going to fall down, but you get the point, right? They can blow that tree around, and it's more easily to see those trees pushed over or uprooted when you get a lot of wind, when the trees are leafed out, and when you get the soil saturated, because the root system gets weakened and kind of gets soppy soils, and those trees can be pushed over. So that's the concern with wind damage and possible power outages. Hopefully not, but that is a potential impact. And just look at all the heavy rain that's just lining up. Again, the rainfall rates with these storms will be 1 to 2 inches per hour in some cases, and that's going to do flash flooding. And so where you see the counties in green, those are flash flooding. We had a flash flood emergency that was issued for northern counties in Middle Tennessee, including Gallatin, Hendersonville, and north of Nashville, including Nashville North. That means they're having to do water rescues with roads impassable and some folks stranded in floodwaters. I tell you what, for that matter, you don't really want to be out driving the rest of tonight if you don't have to be. You don't want to be out riding and get stuck in a flooded road or be encountering a severe thunderstorm with high winds. So probably best, if you're able to, if you don't have to be out, probably best to be able to stay safe indoors. And we'll be here tracking the storms for you. And, you can take cover and be prepared and be safe throughout the night. All right, so that's what we're looking at from Spring City and all the way up into Kentucky and also into Southwest Virginia. And this does include Cumberland Gap and Middlesboro, La Follette, Habersham, Clearfield, I know I need some water in a second. But anyway, Campbell County up into Claiborne County, the Gap, we're seeing some stronger storms. Jamestown, Huntsville, La Follette, very heavy rainfall. The severe thunderstorm warning is for Morgan and Scott County. And again, that does extend over into Fentress and Cumberland County, and we still have that tornado warning. In 3 minutes, that tornado warning set to expire. We'll see if it's continued. Earlier, Cassie was making a great point that Fentress and Cumberland counties are in central time zone, and the two counties here specifically, Fentress and Cumberland, you're covered by the National Weather Service office in Nashville. And for the rest of East Tennessee, pretty much covered by National Weather Service in Morristown. Now, if you watch us from Kentucky, Your Weather Service office is Jackson, Kentucky. Okay, so we have 3 different Weather Service offices that issues warnings as across the Channel 10 viewing area. Hope that makes sense, but yeah, so that's why we have a little bit of differing things going on there. Tornado warning again for just a couple more minutes, 2 more minutes from right now until 8:45 Central Daylight Time. Cumberland and Fentress. And Cassie, I'll let you chime in and I'll send it over to you if you want to do an updated track. I'm still impressed with the amount of lightning and energy with this potential tornado in Cumberland County moving toward and into parts of Morgan, maybe Roane, as it continues to work its way east. It's still packing a punch. Cassie?
All right, Todd, I'll take it from here and go get a drink of water. Let's go ahead and kind of review what's going on. As Todd was saying right here, we do have the tornado warning is expected to expire in 2.5 minutes. So we'll see if that actually ends up happening. I think it will, because looking at the velocity scans recently, we're not seeing as clearly of a defined rotation with that storm, or the rotation is just generally broad, like the entire, within the line, there's a little bit of a push and pull going on right there. So it's creating kind of that broader rotating look. However, not to be denied here, we do still have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for that cell that lasts into Morgan County and into southern Scott County here. So in Wartburg, you hear it, it's pouring in your area. You might be getting some small hail starting to move in. If you're in Wartburg, you have very strong winds starting to move in your direction. So please go ahead and move to your safe place. Even though you're not under the tornado warning, you're still under a severe thunderstorm warning. And with this storm, you can see the lightning bolts, which, speaking of those, let me show you something. We are way out ahead of that rain here right now in the valley, in parts of southern, I should say, Jefferson County and over into Knox County, up into parts of Hamlin County here. Look at those lightning strikes up and down through there. Around the Knoxville area, we have been taking power hits here at our station because of these lightning strikes that are happening well out ahead. So the bolts are coming out and ahead of the storm. This is why we always say when thunder roars, head indoors, because if you're close enough to hear the thunder, you are definitely close enough to be struck by the lightning, particularly in these cells where they're throwing bolts out ahead of the actual rain. So now is the time, folks. We've been talking about this all day long. Here they are. It is time to go inside, stay off the roads, and stay in for the night. If a warning is issued, you go down to your safe place. Otherwise, we're going to continue to keep you covered as these storms move across the area. Okay, it looks like we have been able to see the severe thunderstorm warning and the tornado warning expire for that cell that's now moving into Morgan County. So technically, the National Weather Service believes that this cell is below severe limits right at this moment. Severe criteria is 58 mile per hour or higher wind gusts and quarter or larger size hail. That's 1 inch in diameter. So that tells us that this storm could be producing 55 mile per hour winds or nickel-size hail, but is not quite meeting the criteria to be severe. Either way, Morgan County, this storm is going to pack a punch when it comes through. Still with even 40 to 45 mile per hour gusts, that can knock down trees. Todd was talking about how the soils are saturated. Our trees are big and bushy right now. So if we get damaging winds coming through there, that can cause power outages and cause problems. So please, if you are in Morgan County, northern parts of Roane County, and heads up in Anderson County, you've got a strong storm heading in your direction. A little farther down to the south, we have 2 different severe thunderstorm warnings now for parts of Ray, Meigs, and southern McMinn County, because we have storms down near the Chattanooga area that are now moving northeast, kind of building northeast up the valley. And then we have a cluster of storms to the west that are also moving eastward into the area. It looks like the tornado warning was allowed to expire with that cell that was in Bledsoe County. So now we're just talking about the damaging wind threat. I say just, this is 70 mile per hour winds that could be moving into this area, and that's why we still have that considerable tag on that particular warning. So Dayton, you need to be moving to your safe place, taking shelter. And out ahead of that, in southern parts of Meigs County, you also need to be taking shelter. Notice how the lightning is in kind of clusters. There are cells of strong storms within the larger line that's starting to move across the area. And if I loop this, you can see how it's all just progressing to the east, but building in from the south as well. McMinn, Monroe County, I think you're going to get some good storms down there. And by good, I mean strong storms coming into your area in just a little bit. And we're still seeing that rotation coming out of southern portions of Middle Tennessee that's probably going to clip our Southern Valley counties, Ray, Meigs, and McMinn. Notice that big cell that's in that red polygon back off here to the west at this time, right in this area. And again, generally just lightning across the area, very dangerous. Let's go ahead and take a look at one of our cameras here. Let's see which one is showing the lightning bolts the best right at this moment. Oh, I think we got more flashes here in the studio. Let's look. All right, here's our downtown camera. And again, the storms are starting to move into the area, so lightning is going to be more visible now that it's dark outside, and these storms are very electric.
Some of that was very, very impressive. Earlier cast with that lightning coming in. And by the way, there's some updated information that we can talk about going forward. The flash flooding threat is apparently is still going to be very high as we go through the evening and overnight. There's a little bit of an update to our severe threat for parts of the Cumberland Plateau and into portions of the Southern Valley as well. A moderate risk, a significant moderate risk has been extended down the plateau a little bit. Enhanced risk, more or less still the same. We'll take an updated, maybe look at that and look at that in a moment. But yeah, as Cassie was talking about earlier, we do have that potential, yeah, right there. That has actually been upgraded a little bit more of a, maybe a different shift back to the west a little bit. We're still under an enhanced risk as we see that from the plateau to Knoxville. And then there's that greater significant marginal risk in red from Nashville down toward Huntsville as this next wave comes on in.
Okay, so this is interesting news with this new update from the Storm Prediction Center. Todd and I are juggling, and I didn't realize you could see my hands going over there. Okay, so this is a new update from the Storm Prediction Center. What this is showing you over here on this side of the screen is that dark brown color, that level 3 out of 5 risk, has come farther down to the south and the west. So now more of upper East Tennessee, or areas from about Pigeon Forge up to around La Follette, northeastward, are now in the elevated level 2 out of 5 risk instead of the level 3 out of 5 risk. So that is good news. That tells us that the Storm Prediction Center still thinks there's a chance for strong storms in this area, but they think the greater risk may be actually shifting back toward the south and the west. So that's good news. So, but we still have that level 3 out of 5 risk for all the areas you see shaded in brown here. That is our plateau counties, our central kind of, and mostly Southern Valley. Remember, I was just saying that I think the Southern Valley is going to see some of those stronger storms. They've also extended that level 4. That is a moderate risk for severe storms, meaning there's a significant threat for severe weather in that area shaded in red. That now includes southern Bledsoe County and areas down to Chattanooga. It's not very common to get that level 4 out of 5 risk anywhere in the country, but especially in our area. So that just tells you how high they think that risk is over there farther to our south and our west. But overall, I don't want you to let your guard down if you're up in Morristown and Dandridge and Tazewell and Maynardville, Newport, Greenville. I don't want you to let your guard down just because you've come down a level. But if that allows you to take a breath and just maybe relax just a little bit, you still need to be prepared in case some of these storms end up firing up. The weather doesn't tell us what it's going to do, and so there is a chance that we still could see strong storms in those areas. But this is good news to indicate that maybe the risk is coming down just a little bit for parts of upper East Tennessee. So that's the good news right there. Yes. Let's go ahead and take a look at the big picture of what's going on around the area again this evening, kind of reset here coming up in just a moment. We're getting some updates from the National Weather Service. Let's see here. They have not shared their thoughts on whether or not they're going to extend any of these warnings at this moment. But here's the big picture of the storms kind of rolling in from the west. Again, there are cells located within the line, and that's what we expected. It's within those individual cells that are part of the larger line that we could have that very large hail or possibly the potential for those damaging winds. But if we look at the warnings, look at where most of the warnings are clustered. They're farther south now. So that tells us that's where more of the instability is located. That doesn't mean that we're not going to see strong storms up here. That means, though, that they're not quite as intense, if that helps make you feel better if you're living in those areas. This cell, though, moving through Morgan County right now, it does not have any warnings on it, but folks, it is going to make its presence known. It is moving through northern portion. There it is. I knew it. I knew it. There it is. It's now under a warning. So Anderson, now Knox, Roane, Loudoun counties, you are now under a severe thunderstorm warning. Let me get the latest here. That is for nickel-sized hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds. This storm that is currently located, let's see, near Kingston is moving east at 50 miles per hour with the 60-mile-per-hour wind gust and possibly nickel-sized hail. The areas that need to be taking shelter, some of the cities, are Oak Ridge, Knoxville, even over into the Maryville area. You're included in the southeast corner of that line. Clinton, Lenoir City, Alcoa, Kingston, Rockwood, Farragut, Oliver Springs, areas anywhere in there, you need to be taking shelter. Again, the main threat with this cell right now is going to be the potential for the damaging wind. If I show you the velocity scans, this is what we've been watching. Earlier, this cell was rotating. Now it has just general pockets of severe winds within it. So they're coming out of Cumberland County where you see those bright blue colors. Those are the ones that we're concerned about getting into the Harriman and Kingston areas right now, getting into near Oakdale. This is going to be along US 27, I-40, coming into the Kingston-Watts-Bar Lake area here. This is just to the north of Rockwood. And again, these winds that we're seeing in this area are in that, well, this is scanning a little bit higher up in the storm, but we are seeing some of those wind gusts maybe coming in that 70 to 75 mile per hour range. And again, a lot of lightning, very heavy rain with this storm as it's moving to the east at 50 miles per hour. It's that heavy rain and any hail that may be in here as well that is going to bring those strong winds down to the surface. Where you see that yellow color kind of right on the Morgan-Cumberland line, that's where we could be seeing some of that possibly nickel-sized hail coming into the Harriman area, Coalfield. You're going to see that potential as well. And again, this is riding right along I-40, mainly just to the north of that. So I would say Oak Ridge. You need to be taking shelter if you're in the path of the storm in general. This is going to make its presence known, as I was saying. In addition to the hail, as well as the wind threat, it also could be producing torrential rain. So flash flooding, big concern. I'm looking at you, Cedar Bluff. Out there, that's where we are going to be watching for that flooding near Peters Road. You know, the typical low-lying flood-prone areas. So please stay home until this storm passes. As not only could we see the flooding, but also strong enough winds to bring down some tree branches, maybe cause some power outages in these areas, and just in general cause a ruckus. With that, I'll bring in Chief Meteorologist Todd Howell to continue analyzing the storm as it moves to the east. Todd?
Now, thank you so much. And coming up in about 5 minutes, we're going to be having our Fox 43 at 10 newscast. We'll have the very latest information. As Cassie was just saying, brand new severe thunderstorm warning now that's coming in from Roane County, Morgan County, and right into Blount and Knox County. And again, this is the warning that's in the southern part of our region. We'll get to that in a moment as well. But we do have the warning for Anderson, Blount, Knox, and Roane counties until right there until 10:30. So again, this storm will continue to track due west. So Oak Ridge, again Kingston, down toward Lenoir City, Farragut, Hardin Valley. Thank you, Alex, who tells me, yeah, they got a decent amount of lightning, wind kicking up, and it's a very humid night. Heavy rain, lightning, and maybe some strong to severe thunderstorm winds. Looking at potential winds, just checking that out as Cass was showing a moment ago as well. 60 to 70 mile per hour winds right there where you see those brighter blues. Yeah, that is potential for winds in excess of 60 miles per hour, which is what makes a thunderstorm severe. We could have some destructive winds in excess of 70 miles per hour possible. That's going to be the potential as these storms make their way from Morgan County, Roane County into Anderson, Loudoun, and Knox County. So that severe thunderstorm warning again is in place until 10:30 right there, and that does include Oak Ridge, Lenoir City, Knoxville, and back toward Kingston. Here's the other severe thunderstorm warning that does include Ray County and McMinn County until 11 p.m. It has a considerable tag. That means instead of 60 mile per hour winds, we got winds at least 70 miles per hour plus possible, maybe 70, 75. Even stronger winds showing up in McMinn County from Athens down toward Calhoun. Very heavy rainfall, could have some hail and a lot of frequent lightning embedded within these storms that will continue to track off to the east-northeast. So again, this is the line of storms that will continue to make its way to the east-northeast as it makes its way from the southern up into the Central Valley. And again, we are looking at more of these storms continuing to work the way east as we move into this evening. So that's something we're going to continue to track and monitor. Again, torrential rainfall across portions of the region. Cassie?
Golf ball in 70. That's that one.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much. May need a new battery for my IFB, guys. But here's what we're looking at. Again, we do have that potential for some larger hail, maybe some golf ball size hail right down in here, as Cassie was just telling me. And yeah, there's that pocket of severe winds between Calhoun and southwest of Athens. That's what's showing up on radar right now, as again, we are looking at that cluster, and that could be part of the storm that we got to watch, where we have those focused high winds, maybe a little bit of weak rotation. We'll have to keep an eye on that coming into McMinn County. So again, severe winds are possible. Take cover, McMinn County. Again, we're looking at those winds estimated 60 to maybe 70 miles per hour plus, and could be looking at some large hail as well. Matter of fact, not only just from this cell, hello Dayton. Yeah, there's Bledsoe in Ray County. That's that storm earlier in McMinnville and Manchester we were watching. Again, Middle Tennessee has been getting pounded. Now they're moving off the plateau in parts of the valley. And there's a tornado warning for that other cell over in Grundy County that will continue to work its way east. But look at all these yellow boxes. All the yellow boxes are severe thunderstorm warnings. And red is tornado warning. That's on the other side of the plateau. Just on the other side of the plateau in Grundy County. Green is flash flood warnings all across portions of the plateau. This does include White County, including Sparta, and continuing into Cumberland County, including Crossville. So we've got the potential for severe damaging winds, a few tornadoes possible, some hail, but also flash flooding. Yeah, that's a distinct possibility. And even though there's no warnings, and Cassie made a great point a moment ago, look how much of the thunderstorm activity extends across the northern counties. And I know we haven't focused on your areas as much because you don't have warnings, but what you do have, heavy rain, flooding. I tell you what, if these are not severe, they're close to it. Really strong. So some high winds that could in and of themselves still produce some damage, but flooding and that's loud storms making their way from Campbell County into Claiborne County. So Clairfield, Habersham out of Campbell County right now already into Claiborne County. So Cumberland Gap, Tazewell, and continuing up toward Arthur and right down up toward Harricot as well, and right down into Union County, Sharps Chapel, Maynardville, Luttrell. You're going to see these significant storms into Norris, also Andersonville, and continuing to head down toward Clinton and Oak Ridge. So this is a whole line of storms. This stretches all the way up into Southwest Virginia, right down now into the Northern Valley, and moving into the Central Valley, and right down towards Sweetwater and Athens. Okay, coming up in a moment, we're going to continue our coverage and be joining up with Fox 43 and our 10 o'clock broadcast coming up momentarily. And we're going to have the very latest information for you coming up on that in just a minute. Again, if you're just tuning in, coming up on 10 p.m., we are looking at, again, the line of strong to severe storms expected to continue to work their way east over the next 1 to 2 hours between right now, 10 p.m., to midnight. And this is the initial line of strong to severe storms possible, and we'll continue to see those storms making their way due east, and also some heavy rainfall and flooding will be possible across our region. All right, Cassie?
All right, let's continue to track these storms here as they're passing to the east. We've been live for almost an hour now, continuing to track these storms, and now we have two different, or I guess kind of three severe thunderstorm warnings for parts of our viewing area. So let's kind of walk you through them here as we welcome in our Fox 43 viewers now. Thank you for joining us here as we continue to track these storms as they're moving through. Again, welcome to our Fox 43 viewers. Let's go ahead and walk you through. We've got very strong storms in the Northern Valley and up into southeast Kentucky. No warnings in effect for these areas, but let me tell you, they're still packing a punch. Not only are you getting very strong winds, you're getting torrential rains. Flash flooding is a big concern in these areas, and also abundant lightning as well. Following it down to the south, we're starting to see those lightning bolts reaching over to Rogersville and Morristown, Maynardville. You're getting that very heavy rain. And here comes that severe thunderstorm warning now. This is in northern parts of Roane County. And that is going to be moving right over, it's almost past Harriman. It's in Kingston at this point, continuing toward the east. Going to be getting into Oak Ridge very shortly here, and then eventually into West Knox County. So if you're in Farragut, Hardin Valley, Cedar Bluff, I'm looking at you for flooding concerns. This is also going to be getting into the downtown Knoxville area in just a little bit. This storm has a lot of lightning with it, and also has that potential to be producing those 60-mile-per-hour winds. That's what we're looking at here with our velocity scan, right there with those brighter blues that are moving into the Harriman-Kingston area right across Watts Bar Lake right now. Again, this is going to continue over near Blair Road and then eventually into West Knox County, following up for Watt Road, Campbell Station, Lovell Road, Pellissippi, and into Cedar Bluff and into Knoxville. We also have a severe thunderstorm warning down for our Southern Valley counties. Man, Paint Rock, you've got a big storm coming into your area too. But down here to the south, this storm that's moving through Ray, Meigs, and now into McMinn County could be producing 70-mile-per-hour winds and golf ball size hail. So if you're down in McMinn County, also, please take shelter in the lowest level of your home, away from doors and windows, as these storms move across our area this evening.
And Cassie, real quick, a tornado possible in that storm as well.
Down to the south?
Yes, in Ray County and continuing to head toward McMinn County. 1.5-inch size hail, tornado possible, and more of a considerable threat with that particular storm that will continue to track. So, yeah, definitely take cover both in the Southern and Central Valley right now.
That's right. And now I'm going to send it over to John and Robin for additional information on what's going on around East Tennessee this evening.
Cassie, thanks so much. Again, we are tracking all the storms that are popping. This just another wave after the storms we saw today. And Robin, we have seen some video come in really from across East Tennessee showing the damage.
That's right. I think we have video from earlier today. This is of Cumberland County from that first round of storms that we saw right before the noon hour. Our weather team, you've been listening to them for the last hour, they said, and they are certainly keeping us up to date on the storms that are moving through the region. But as you are seeing right here, these are the scenes from earlier today, the damage left behind from that first round of storms.
Let's bring both Todd and Cassie back into the conversation to reset as we move past the top of the hour. Cassie and Todd, as you were saying, you've been on the air for more than an hour now, and these storms have rolled from Nashville right across the plateau and now coming into the valley.
Yeah, John and Robin, thank you so much. Yeah, this line of storms moving on to the plateau. Cassie, tracking the severe potential damage and winds. We had the tornado warning that got things going for parts of Cumberland County and also into Fentress County. That storm continued to move on to the plateau. Now, the tornado warning was not extended, but the severe weather and severe thunderstorm warning, was extended. And now the very latest is for Roane County, Anderson County, into Knox County. Also, we have another round of storms across the Southern Valley. So that's what we're seeing. Matter of fact, tell you what, it's just a matter of time before Roane County, the rest of McMinn and Monroe County has a warning issued here. Look at that thunderstorm. Let me just stop the radar. I know there's a lot of information on here, but the storm we're focusing in on right now is for this one around Paint Rock and southern portions of Roane County, around Naota, northern McMinn, and coming towards Sweetwater in northern Monroe. If you're watching this, Philadelphia, Loudon, Lenore City, heads up. Loudoun County, you also could be seeing some of these stronger storms. Here's a look at the severe thunderstorm warning for Anderson, Blunt, Knox, and Roane until 10:30. Again, damaging winds in excess of 60 to 70 miles per hour possible. And wow, just having a report of teacup size hail, 3-inch diameter hail coming in from Bledsoe County. That's the one that's moving from Bledsoe into Ray and maybe southern parts of McMinn County. So very large hail. And that was also the one we were looking at for possible rotation coming down into Ray County. I'll look at that again in a moment. The line of storms does extend, though, up towards Speedwell and Tazewell. We don't have warnings, but we have a lot of very heavy rainfall. Flooding is a concern. Look at how heavy it's raining with a lot of storms. So flooding is going to be an ongoing concern as we go through the rest of this evening. And just to kind of reset a little bit, here's what we're looking at as far as our timeline and our future cast. Again, between right now and midnight, we are seeing this line of strong to severe storms that will continue to work its way through the region, but there's another round of heavier thunderstorms coming early in the morning that can produce more flooding. Then we'll see a break into tomorrow afternoon. Okay, we're going to get all our graphics reset and go through one by one coming up in just a few moments. John, Robin?
All right, Todd, thank you very much. And as Todd and Cassie are giving us a big picture of the storms as they are moving through East Tennessee, we want to hone in right now on Cumberland County.
Anchor Shay Smith joining us now. And Shay, at one point earlier tonight, you had to take cover.
Yeah, that's right. Hey, John. Hey, Robin. So probably about 30 minutes ago, you're right, myself along with the visual storyteller, Jake Johns, along with a lot of customers at Buc-ee's and Buc-ee's employees, we all went into the bathroom to take cover. And I just want to say thank you to Todd and to Cassie, because I was listening in on IFB and able to relay the information from them to all of the customers and the employees at Buc-ee's. But yes, we all did take cover, but I want to tell you a little bit about leading up to that. So whenever we arrived in Cumberland County, about 4:30, very calm, not any rain, not any wind, just a slight breeze, a little bit of sprinkles here and there. But then at about 6:30, 7, 8, things really started to pick up. At one point, it was like a lightning show about north of here, and one huge lightning hit. It looked near, but Buc-ee's lost power, and so this whole area just basically went black. It took about probably 5 minutes for the power to come back on here at the Buc-ee's. But thankfully, the Cumberland County EMA director says that as of right now, there is no damage here in Cumberland County and Crossville, and nobody is injured either. Definitely probably a scary moment for a lot of people having to take shelter into the Buc-ee's. But I will say, you know, we didn't see a ton of wind either. At one point, whenever we were inside of the store, I did glance out of the window from a very safe distance, of course, and the wind did pick up a little bit. And there was a lot of downpour rain, but it was really quick. I mean, it just seemed like it just passed over, but that's what bands do, just passed over us pretty quickly. And then, you know, after about 10, 20 minutes of all of us taking shelter, we were allowed to step back out. A lot of people got back in their cars to head home, head wherever they were going. A lot of employees are probably wrapping up their shifts right now. But right now, very calm. Hopefully not another storm headed our way, but right now everything has really settled down. John and Robin.
And that is great to hear, and we are so happy you guys are safe. Stay safe, and yes, keep tuning in to Todd and Cassie. They're going to keep us safe for sure. Shay, thanks again. Now, communities on the Plateau and in Middle Tennessee, they've been seeking shelter from these severe storms. At around 8:30 this evening, weather experts, they issued a tornado warning for parts of Middle Tennessee. You're taking a look at the scene from there.
Yes, and lots of you have been sharing videos with us as well. And again, Todd and Cassie are tracking the very latest watches and warnings. We'll get back to them in just a moment. First, though, to other headlines tonight.
Yes, Knox County deputies, they shot a man investigators say had a gun.
That confrontation happened late this afternoon, and 10 News anchor Katie Inman joining us now with more of what we're learning tonight. Katie?
John, Robin, the Knox County Sheriff's Office says the shooting happened at about 4:30 this afternoon in the Halls community. This is video from that scene in North Knox County. KCSO says deputies were working to negotiate with a man who had a gun in Clayton Park off of Norris Freeway. Deputies then shot him. Witnesses near the scene say people in the park at the time hid in the woods. And emergency crews took that suspect to a nearby hospital for treatment. We don't know right now how serious his injuries are yet or his condition. None of the officers were hurt, and state investigators with the TBI are looking into that shooting now and what exactly led up to it. This marks the 19th shooting involving law enforcement. The TBI has been called in to investigate this year. We will share more details both on air and online as we get new information. John and Robin.
Katie, thank you.
And we're going to turn back to our weather team. Again, we're getting some more warnings and watches. And Todd, I just heard you talking with Cassie about flooding concerns that we're going to see roll into the morning hours as well.
Yeah, it's that 1-2 punch. Severe weather is one of the main threats right now, but mixed in with the severe threat, we're seeing that heavy rainfall and flooding threat. We're seeing it start to materialize. We've got rainfall rates in excess of 3 inches per hour. 3 inches per hour down in Ray County. We have a flash flood warning that's just been issued. So again, that's why we have the yellow boxes are severe thunderstorm warnings. The green boxes in counties outlined are flash flood warnings. That does include Crossville and Cumberland County, and covered up underneath the yellow is also a flash flood warning down in Ray County and the Southern Valley. This whole line, let me stop the radar. I know there's a lot of information going on here, but Rogersville, Tazewell, Maynardville, La Follette, you're covered up under there as you go from Oak Ridge to Clinton. So let me start with the first one we have is the severe thunderstorm warning, and just a brand new one right there. You can see that coming. Anderson, Blunt, and Knox until 10:30. Okay, that's the one that we're focusing in on. Here's the brand new one that literally just came in, and we have to move move our map around so that our system will figure out which one it is. And this is the brand new one for Lenoir City, and it does include also, it's in Loudoun County, excuse me. It's Blount, Knox, Loudoun, McMinn, Monroe, and Roane. National Weather Service in Morristown just go ahead and issue in about 5 or 6 counties at once there. Blount, Knox, Loudoun, McMinn, Monroe, and Roane until 11 p.m. Quarter-size hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds are possible. So this is this warning right here that I'll show you graphically. Again, Lenoir City to Greenback. It does extend also up into the southern part of Knox County. So from Knoxville to Greenback down toward Philadelphia. It does include Lenoir City. And again, let me just I have to take the lightning off because I know it's so busy. And we'll kind of take that off so you can see everything just a little bit better, hopefully. And I'll take off the warnings as well because that's covered up. But we got severe weather basically that's coming all the way down from Knox County through Lenoir City. There's Paint Rock in Roane County, and this continues down in McMinn County from Athens all the way down to Cleveland. So see how this is a line? Notice Dayton, very heavy rainfall, flash flood warning, large hail, and damaging winds also possible. So this is kind of the severe line that's continued to make its way from near La Follette and Maynardville down toward Oak Ridge, Lenoir City, Sweetwater, Athens, and again just east of Chattanooga. All right, so that's a look at what we're seeing at the moment. Let me put the radar, the warnings back on, and again we do have this line of very heavy rainfall and storms that will continue. And an update to what we were talking about earlier, we do have a tornado watch that's in place until midnight tonight, and this does include the Cumberland Plateau into the valley. This includes La Follette, Knoxville, Maryville, and everywhere back to the west and south. And we have a flood watch in place until 8 a.m. So it's this 1-2 punch of severe weather through this evening and heavy rainfall overnight through tomorrow morning. Yes, we're concerned that we are going to continue to see that heavy rainfall and flooding threat extending well into the overnight hours and even well into our Thursday morning as additional rounds of showers and storms continue to head in our direction. Let me go back and show you the wider view. What Middle Tennessee has been experiencing from early this evening, we are now starting to see here in East Tennessee. And this was the concern because we were watching these storms really firing up. This is a 6-hour replay. Yeah, here's what we're looking at. You can't see that. I'll go back to the wall in a moment so we can see us graphically. But Nashville, again, heading into East Tennessee, this is what we're looking at. That line of storms that continues to work its way into East Tennessee, and you can see all the warnings lining up ahead of that with the flash flooding in the wake of those storms as well. So that's what we're seeing on the very latest right now, and that's what's going to continue as we head through tonight and into tomorrow morning. All right, we'll keep you updated on the very latest. John and Robin, we'll send it back over to you as we look live at our downtown Knoxville camera, and that's all the lightning and energy you can see showing up in the sky. John?
Todd, quick question. A lot of times we see storms that are rolling in from Nashville into the plateau break up. What's the difference between this system and what we see in the past where sometimes the valley isn't hit as hard?
Yeah, that's a great question. The plateau is flatter on top in general when it comes off the plateau and descends. Exactly, John. A lot of times we do see that break up. When a system's so strong, the dynamics are so strong, it kind of overrides the effect of topography. And you know what? We saw that happen in 2011, among others. Now, this is not like 2011. Okay, now that's on a whole nother shelf and level all by itself. But that system overrode the effects of topography. What I mean was, it's when you have the bigger storms that occur over the higher terrain, and then sometimes you have them break up in the valley. Well, when the storm system's so strong from the surface all the way to the upper levels, yeah, you can have strong to severe storms anywhere. Mm-hmm. You can, if you remember in 2011, guess what we did have? We had tornadoes even into the mountains. Mm-hmm. Is that possible?
Remember that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It was the EF3, I believe it was. Went through Calderwood Dam and right up and did a lot of damage into the Smoky Mountains. You can see that from Look Rock. So, yeah, when you have these strong systems, it can override the undulations of topography that typically will break those storms up, but not when the system's really, really strong. Again, particularly from upstairs and the upper levels down. And this one is pretty strong as well, that it is bringing that threat for damaging winds. And again, I can't say this enough. Overnight tonight, we're going to continue to see this potential for heavy rain and flooding. So we're going to go from that severe threat and transition to the heavy rain and flooding threat, which your typical strong spring systems will do. There's more energy that's back into West Tennessee, in portions of actually Arkansas and Missouri, and has lightning as well. That's just outside of our zone. That's with the actual front. That's going to be coming in tomorrow morning. So that's what we're looking at, again, right now. That's going to take us through at least midnight, if not about 1 a.m. We got several more hours of these intense storms, damaging winds, and also flooding. We'll try to give you an update. I don't know if we have power outages starting to develop with KUB and some other outlets in our area. We'll bring you the latest on that. Hopefully not, but I wouldn't be surprised if we have that developing in addition to the flooding. John, Robin?
All right, Todd, thank you very much. While you keep an eye on the bigger picture, Todd, we're going to focus in now on Sevier County. And for that, we want to turn to Maria Guzman joining us. Maria, what are you seeing where you are right now?
Hey, John, Robin. Yes, we're actually inside our station car, myself and our visual storyteller, Sarah Oatman. We were outside just keeping an eye on the weather. However, we decided to come into the car to take shelter as the rain here is slowly starting to come. We did see a lot of lightning and thunderstorms in the last 30 minutes, and now the rain is starting to fall. Now, we are outside Sevier County Emergency Operations Center, where they're keeping an eye on the conditions and how they are doing. They told me no major impact at the moment. However, they are keeping an eye on flash flooding, damaging hail, and damaging high winds. Sevier County EMA says parts of the county have already received about 1 inch of rain, and they plan to receive about 3 more inches of rain. In the meantime, I will send things back to you.
All right, Maria Guzman reporting there in Sevier County. Again, we have crews stationed all across the area. We'll certainly be checking back in with them as this severe weather continues to roll through East Tennessee.
Yeah, let's look ahead to tomorrow. Schools across East Tennessee, well, they are preparing for the severe weather. Of course, that's happening overnight and into tomorrow morning. Several school districts will be on a delayed schedule tomorrow. Cobb County schools will open an hour late. Granger and Hawkins County schools 2 hours late.
We're going to check back in with Chief Meteorologist Todd Howell as well as Cassie Null. And one of the biggest concerns right now is the high water. And we could see, as they've been telling us throughout the evening, as much rain in one day as some areas see in a full month. Let's talk about those flooding concerns, because we're entering those hours, Todd and Cassie, as we will see this water rise in rivers and creeks across the area.
Yeah, John, thank you so much. Yeah, Cassie joined me right here. And yeah, one of the things, Cassie, you just were looking at this with the TDOT camera, the amount of water, the sheets of rain coming down right now, very heavy rainfall on the interstates.
Can we take that full?
Yeah.
It's on max 1.
Yeah,
to show this here.
Take that full
Thank
there.
you so much.
Yeah.
So this is I-40 and Watt Road. First of all, good news is not a lot of people are out on the road. Second of all, slow down, people, if you can hear me. But also look at how much splashing is coming up from there. And just the lightning, the sheets of rain coming across. This is an area where we also have a concern for a tight hail core to be coming in there, meaning that we could be seeing possibly up to quarter-size hail moving into that area. And here's Cedar Bluff at I-40. Look at the trees in the bottom left-hand corner, waving around out there. Lots of spray coming up off the storms, off the cars. Lots of lightning coming up there as well. It's going to be moving into the Cedar Bluff and I-40 area very shortly, and that is also where we have that main core of the potential hail moving in as well. If you don't have to be out on the roads right now, please stay home. We really want folks to be safe this evening, and now is not a good time to head out on the roads. As John was trying to emphasize, the flooding is going to be a huge concern with how much water is going to come from the skies in a very short period of time. We do have a flash flood warning in effect for southern portions of our area. We're up to an additional 3 inches of rain is going to be possible. And look at that line of severe thunderstorm warnings. It's in effect from Knoxville southward, basically in the valley right now. And that's where we're also concerned about the hail that's going to be coming in. Look at that. This is our vertically integrated liquid. So this is a product that shows us how much moisture is in the column associated with the storm. And where you see that bright pink color, that's right along I-40, right over that Watt Road, Campbell Station area. That's where we could be seeing that quarter-size hail affecting that area right now, which is why we brought up those cameras out there out west. Again, if you don't have to be out on the roads, please don't be. Between the flooding concern, the hail potential, the lightning, and just the torrential rain, the camera is now bouncing around almost violently out at I-40 and Watt Road for a second there, because we also have strong winds coming into that area as well.
We really do. There's a little bit of weak rotation. Yeah, let's go back to that camera at Watt Road right here, and this kind of shows you, yeah, look at that camera really bouncing around. You can take that full if you want, and we are full. Yeah, and you know it's pretty bad when 18-wheelers put on their, their hazards going up Watt Road as well. Look at that. The wind really bouncing that camera around. A lot of lightning, a lot of heavy rain, and some very strong winds. That's what we're seeing right now. Again, I just mentioned weak rotation trying to come into Hardin Valley, Farragut area, and it's just the strong rotating storm with a lot of heavy rain and a lot of wind. We do have a severe thunderstorm warning, again, that does continue for Knox County, and we'll show that to you again graphically right here. It includes Knox, Blunt, down into Loudoun counties, and that's going to continue again until 10:30. Anderson, Blunt, and Knox. All right, so Cassie, I'm gonna go on over the wall. I'll let you drive the radar there. Let's go and check. Let's go and talk about that storm in Farragut in West Knox County, because we are looking at what we saw the camera view at Watt Road. And again, you can see all the lightning. Keep it right here just a minute. I mean, look at all the energy that's coming into West Knox County. That's what we saw from our downtown Knoxville camera, from the TDOT camera, Watt Road, Cedar Bluff, and continuing out west. Torrential rainfall, flooding is possible, a lot of water on the roadways. And no wonder 18-wheelers had their hazards on. Yeah, because seeing a lot of water on the road. So if you don't have to be out, best not to be. And heads up, Farragut, you got a hail core coming in. And within this hail core, I am seeing the storm rotating just a little bit. All that means is it's a mature storm. We're looking at different rotation. I see broad rotation right here. Doesn't mean it's a tornado. I see broad rotation. Mature severe storms actually rotate. A lot of severe storms do. Most of them do not produce a tornado. Some do. But again, that one's starting to tighten up just a little bit. Cass, if you'll go right there, and thank you. Actually, what you're doing is perfect. That's really right along the Knox and Loudoun County line. So North Watt Road, and basically right where the TDOT camera was, Martell Road, North Watt Road, and northern portions of Loudoun County, and again, continuing Highway 11 and deep west Knox County, and again, near Two Rivers Church, and where it cuts on over toward Martell Road at Highway 11 right there, and the Fork. And that's what we're seeing in deep west Knox County into Loudoun County. And again, this is going to be coming down Kingston Pike, heading toward Old Stage Road, and eventually as you go on to West Knox County, and again, also Virtue Road, if you're watching from Choteau Road area, and eventually along North Shore, heads up. This storm looks like it's intensifying some. Again, it has damaging winds because we have a severe thunderstorm warning, could have 60 to 70 miles per hour, but we could have a little bit more focused wind energy and a hail core. So from Farragut down toward just northeast of Lenoir City, we got some potential large hail. Again, I don't think our scan's updated quite just yet. The next one will probably show it a little bit further here where we're seeing, but that is damaging winds possible and large hail, at least hail of a quarter size or larger. We have the potential to see maybe golf ball size hail, even up to 2-inch diameter hail, which is hen egg size. Again, they got a size for everything with the hail, right? There's a look at Watt Road and 40. There's Cedar Bluff, and I think the other one, Cass, has the better full view of Watt Road. But yeah, there's a look at that torrential rainfall. As you can see, that's at Cedar Bluff right now. That's those heavy storms that are literally blowing in to West Knox County. So that's what we're seeing right now on the interstate. A lot of water on the road. Again, a lot of intense winds moving in, and we are continuing to see some of those damaging winds. One good news, I still see street lights, still see power on. But right now, hopefully you're maintaining power, but I tell you what, with the amount of lightning, the wind, we could have power outages, unfortunately, developing across parts of the valley as these storms continue to sweep on into the region. Cass, let's go back to our downtown Knoxville camera briefly, if we can. And I'm getting all kind of information. No, that's just from family. That's good. All right, here's what we're seeing. Again, downtown Knoxville camera, there's the lightning. Look at that popping. Look in the western sky. And yeah, these storms are making the way closer to Knoxville in the Farragut area right now in Hardin Valley, down toward Loudoun County. So again, a lot of that lightning we were seeing out west is continuing. This continues all the way up from Virginia right down into Knoxville. The warnings pick up in around Knoxville. That's where there's a little bit more instability down toward Chattanooga. This is where we have the severe thunderstorm warnings. Anderson, Blunt, and Knox. until 10:30, and then also for Greenback, Lenore City, Loudoun, Philadelphia, and that warning right here, we got overlay warnings. This one is in effect until 11. It also includes South Knox County and right there, and we got another one just issued, and just thank you NWS Morristown, until 11:15, Blunt, Knox, and severe. Now this has got a considerable tag because this is what we're looking at increasing. 70 mile per hour, got it, 70 mile per hour winds with this particular severe thunderstorm. Again, when you see that considerable tag, that's a step up from the 60, that's usually 70 or higher. So damaging winds coming into Knoxville. Again, continuing Hardin Valley, Farragut, into Bearden, Sequoia Hills. Be prepared to hunker down into West Knox County, northern Loudoun. And again, just seeing a little bit of that broader rotation as far as what we're seeing, and some pockets of some focused higher winds. Where we see that in Farragut, that brighter color right there, that could be potentially some stronger damaging wind gusts. And again, as National Weather Service Morristown just extended that warning, that will go from Knox and Blunt into Sevier County, I believe maybe parts of Jefferson as well, but 70 mile per hour winds plus. Friendsville, a little weak rotation in Blunt County as well, right along 321. Some higher winds for you coming in and down toward Greenback. So again, 411, 321, yeah, continuing also old Highway 95 as well down into Loudoun and Blunt counties. But the hail core primarily is right around Farragut. That's going to continue to work its way into our region. So here we are coming up on 10:30. And so again, this is the main line of severe storms that is making its way through the region. Damaging winds, fairly likely across many areas. Again, we've got severe thunderstorm warnings for all of Knox County right now with a lot of intense lightning. And a lot of this is likely some of that positive lightning energy. There's some really strong lightning as opposed to negative. And so that's what we're looking at with that high winds. And also down the valley, Cass, if you don't mind, if we can go on down into Monroe and McMinn County, that storm down the valley is also on the fairly strong side that does have some severe thunderstorm with it as well. And we'll take a look at that in the Southern Valley in just a half second right there. So that's what we're looking at for Tellico Plains. Again, Athens into Monroe County. Again, your warning will probably be forthcoming momentarily. A lot of these boxes just overlaid. And that's what we're seeing, again, into Monroe County with the potential for some severe winds coming up, particularly just south of Athens and McMinn County down into Polk County as well. Wow, look at that. That is potentially, it's not good, but it's potentially some large hail that's coming from Ray County into McMinn County and about to cross over Interstate 75. So this is the same cell that was producing widespread severe weather back in southern Middle Tennessee, even producing a tornado at one point and a hail core, and there's more lining up behind that. So this is where some of the latest guidance is showing some of the heaviest rain and some of the more intense storms across the southern half of East Tennessee as we go between now and about midnight to 1 a.m. But that does extend up into the valley with that hail core also around Farragut. So again, high damaging winds, large hail, torrential rainfall rates in excess of 2 inches per hour. And there's that latest scan with the potential large hail at Campbell Station Road down to, I mentioned Virtue Road a moment ago. And again, continuing Old Stage Road and continuing down along maybe North Shore, extending there shortly. And this will eventually about to be crossing over from Campbell Station to Lovell Road and also Pellissippi Parkway, which is 140 right here. So Lovell Heights, again, Wedgwood Hills, Crestwood Hills, and Woodland Acres, Trails West. And again, Dean Hill, Bearden, Fox Hills. If this is your community or your area, less than 27 minutes from right now, it's going to be impacting your area. Lovell Heights in about 3 minutes. So we're talking about large hail. Good idea. Hopefully your car is under cover in a garage if possible. Now, if you're right here in Farragut, I'll be honest with you, probably not the best time to go out and do that right now with large hail falling. You know, to each his own, but it's best to have hopefully your car under cover. We do have that potential for some of that large hail, not everywhere, but some of that focus. This is a live look at TDOT SmartWay camera, Interstate 40 at Cedar Bluff. And again, some of that torrential rainfall is continuing to come on in. And yeah, this is the eastbound. We're looking west. This is the eastbound lane right here. This is westbound. So we're looking west, and that's where the storms are back in Farragut. and heading toward us. Or it'd be a little bit more like that, wouldn't it? Yeah, okay, so that's what we're looking at right now at Cedar Bluff, and earlier coming up from Watt Road, some of those more intense storms with the very high winds and the very heavy rainfall. And again, as we saw, maybe some large hail. Power outages will be a concern with these intense storms making their way through the Knoxville area. Corrington over toward Jefferson City, and here is that severe thunderstorm warning. Blunt, Knox, and severe until 11:15. So not quite into Jefferson County, but it's close. It looks like a little sliver, but anyway, Blunt, Knox, and severe until 11:15. And so, yeah, considerable wind damage is possible in excess of 70 miles per hour. At the airport, Alcoa, we are looking down to Maryville. It will be in your neck of the woods soon. Quick side note, had one of my sons fly in just before 10 p.m., landed safely, and then the storms hit. Whew, yes, so a little bit of a hallelujah moment right there. Maybe you have friends or family flying in. Hopefully you made it in before the storms and they didn't get delayed. But meanwhile, there's a look at that. A lot of intense lightning just to the south and west of Knoxville, in Knox, Loudoun, and Blount counties, and all up and down most of the valley. This is the main line of storms. Now, as we look back upstream, this is going to be the continued concern as we head through the overnight for potential flooding. So we're still looking at some multiple rounds of more shower storms. This is the main line, what we're seeing right now. But we could see additional storms. Each one could have its own separate pocket of high winds, maybe some damaging wind gusts, not necessarily the whole line probably, but also heavy rain and flooding. All right, so Cassie, I'll let you chime in what you're looking at right here with some of these cells. Boy, those are intense, coming right into the Southern Valley. Cassie?
Yeah, this is in that area that was added to that moderate risk from the Storm Prediction Center, and we are just seeing these storms redevelop over the same areas over and over and over again. I think our areas south of I-40, kind of where you see the warnings now, our Southern Valley counties are going to have a rough night tonight, it looks like right now, because once these storms start going, they're going to continue to redevelop. We're also seeing additional storms redeveloping on our plateau counties. That is just west right now of Cumberland and Fentress County, but now we're talking about the storms redeveloping in this area and coming through again. This is kind of what we were concerned about with this weather tonight, was that we were going to have multiple rounds, and that once we got started, we were not going to be stopping. Yeah. What were you just seeing there?
Yeah, just real quick, it got our attention. Decatur, McMinn County reports 4.3 inches of rain
today
by a train spotter.
So far.
Near Idlewood, Tennessee. So far today.
Wow.
Goodness gracious, that's a ping pong ball size hail in Marion County. That's outside our viewing area. But as Cassie was just showing that and talking about, that's the Southern Valley areas that have some of that really large hail. And also up in Scott County in Elgin, we have reports of thunderstorm wind damage at 9:15. Trees down on Nidec Trail, and power lines have been knocked down as well in parts of Scott County and Elgin. And again, don't know how much power outages. We'll try to give you an update on that, as that may still be materializing, as once the storms move through, then those power outages and storm reports typically start to sprinkle in, so to speak. All right, so that's what we're looking at coming up here. We'll show you those power outages actually in just a moment. This is a live look.
In Clinton.
Is this in Clinton?
Wow.
Okay.
The lightning strikes happening around our station right now are so intense, and you're seeing some of that lightning flashing on the screen right there. Again, this is an area that the main core of the storms has passed right now, but they've got another round that's developing off to the west. It's going to be moving into that area in just a little bit. I was just checking out power outages. It looks like Roane County, they're what, Daniel?
They're in Powell.
Powell? Okay, they're in Powell, so actually northern Knox County there. And we've also seen so many lightning strikes. In fact, I think our tower camera may have actually taken a couple hits there. Also in Roane County right now, I'm seeing almost 2,700 customers without power. In Loudoun County, I'm seeing at least I'm seeing some outages starting to show up in Loudoun County as well. That we're going to be monitoring as we go throughout the evening. We already are on generator power here at our studios.
Yeah, Les cranked it up about 45 minutes ago.
We're ready. We're ready. Lenoir City Utilities Board is reporting just over 300 customers without power right now. And with these storms coming through, we do expect to see those numbers grow significantly in the next hour or so with these strong winds, and the electricity is very, very prominent with these storms as they're moving through the area right now. So we've got multiple threats here, as Todd has been mentioning. First and foremost, we've got the damaging wind threat. We don't have any tornado warnings in effect for our area at the moment, though we are seeing broad rotation with a few of these storms. Let me start by zooming into the Knox County storm that we have right now. This has what is called a considerable tag, which means it is a severe thunderstorm warning with a thunderstorm that could produce considerable damage. And the reason that tag has been added is for the potential of 70-mile-per-hour winds. Now that's hard to see in these type of situations sometimes because it's contaminated by the heavy rain. But look at that push of wind up near Kodak and Dandridge, Todd.
Yeah, I mean, right there,
Wow.
Kodak. Oh, wow, look at that. You're right.
I know.
Kodak, Dandridge, Jefferson City. I'm looking at this also, you know, up toward Corryton. That when you're showing that velocity, yeah, right there.
Yeah.
That's another heads up, Corryton. That's some really high winds. It's coming up to Corryton, House Mountain area in northeast Knox County. And those high winds kind of focusing through Knoxville. That's what we were seeing on our weather cameras as well. And Cassie pointed that out at Watt Road. Boy, that camera really bouncing around earlier, and that extends down toward Lenoir City and into Blount County, again with some of that broader rotation down toward Friendsville. But yeah, heads up Dandridge, Douglas Lake, and Cass, we'll try to do this maybe in a moment. We'll try to show some of our cameras. We got a Douglas Lake camera, we got our downtown camera, and we got our Sevierville camera, we got a Gatlinburg, we got quite a few over. But anyway, we'll take a look at maybe some of those camera views in time and see what the winds are doing. But we want you to stay safe and be prepared and make sure that you are aware of some high winds moving in. And so there's a look at our Douglas Lake cam. Thank you so much, Cass. And I tell you what, Cass, if you don't mind hitting, let's see, hit 5 on that, preset number 5, and I think it'll show it the western sky. It'll be behind me right there, and maybe we'll tilt up a little bit. We'll see some lightning probably popping right there. You can see the raindrops. This is at the Dandridge Marina on the floating dock. There it is. Yep. And that's what we're looking at with the rain coming in sideways. And again, of course, now the good thing, you have lights. We have power. Again, there you go. Thank you, Cass. Zoom on out. Yeah. And so this is from the marina at the dock there. And again, we're looking west over Douglas Lake here. And this is west, and then east behind me, then south would be, get my directions right, that way. So in the western sky, that's what we're seeing, those storms moving in. But heads up at Dandridge and Douglas Lake. Yeah, and you know what, you see the lightning, you can see a little bit of that edge of that cloud right there, can't you? Yeah, so when we see lightning, and that's one of the dangers at night, it's harder to see some of the severe storms and especially the flooding. Now, quick note on flooding. If you don't have to be out driving tonight or in the morning, early in the morning, don't, because it looks like we're going to have to be dealing with flooding. Floodwaters at night are harder to see, and a couple of things. If water's moving swiftly over the road, you don't know if that road bed is underneath there or not. You just don't. Even if you know the road like the back of your hand, it could be washed out underneath. So a humble reminder to never drive through flooded roadways. Flooding looks like it's going to be a likely issue as we go the rest of tonight into tomorrow morning. And if you're watching us right now in eastern areas in Sevier County, Cocke County, Greene County, and some of the mountainous areas as well, we are going to be having to watch out for potential for flooding. Maybe some mudslides, hopefully not, but that's a concern that could be developing overnight and early in the morning. Even as we go through tomorrow morning, we could be seeing those stream rises and water rises that could become an issue. Hopefully not, but it is a potential. Just wanted to let you know that's something we have to watch. Let's be mindful of that. All be safe, be prepared. We take you to Kodak in northern Sevier County, Smoky Stadium, and yes, we're seeing the storm clouds and the heavy rain showers off in the distance as well. And there you see that lightning popping. So yes, severe storms are making their way into a region with damaging winds in excess of 60 to 70 miles per hour, power outages, and it's got the heavy rain in combination with some of these damaging winds as well. Cassie went through some of the power outages that started to see some pockets of that. We're hoping for the best, again, as these severe storms move in, but we are expecting some of those to continue to trickle in probably as these severe storms move through. And at the very least, we're all going to experience more of the storms and the excessive heavy rainfall that could lead to that flooding as we go overnight tonight. So that's the latest. Again, we are looking at, we'll go back to radar and show you that line of showers and storms. And that we're talking about the hail core that was possible around the Farragut area, making its way through the southwest part of Knox County and continuing on into portions of Blount County, and that's the storm that's going to be in place until 11:15 for Blount, Knox, and Sevier right here. And as Cassie said, it's got a considerable tag. When you see that, that's at least 70-mile-per-hour winds or higher. Okay, let's take we'll take a look at the power outages. And okay, there's a look, and Danielle just kind of popped that up, and we'll all look at it together. You can click on that Roane County in red. Looks like that's one of the counties with the higher amount of outages. We also have Loudoun County. If you just click on that, we'll take a look at that in a moment. And okay, and Cassie, will send it back over to you. Cassie, click on, somebody click on, 2,700 without power.
Have almost 1,600 customers without power, and that's actually focused near the Bean Station area. We've got about 250 customers without power in Bean Station. Now near Rutledge, 1,360 customers without power. And these are the same areas that were affected earlier today by that downburst wind of 80 to 90 miles per hour, and those are the areas that also saw that baseball size hail. So unfortunately, we talked about how there were going to be multiple rounds of storms today, and it does look like this is one of the areas that saw a rough time earlier this morning and is now having yet another round of those strong storms. So again, about 1,600 customers or so without power in Granger County. Loudoun now up to just over 700, and in Roane County just about 2,700. I'm actually seeing some outages starting to add up in Cumberland County as well. Now up to about 1,250 outages there. Meigs County starting to see the outages add up, and this is what we were expecting with these storms as they come on through. A lot of lightning, that causes trouble already to a power grid, but on top of that, we've got those potentially 60 to 70 mile per hour winds and that large hail moving through these areas as well, and that is what continues to add to the damage threat. We are continuing to track these storms as they move to the east here. It looks like we have a new severe thunderstorm warning that was just extended down here from the Greenback area, it looks like, over into Monroe, Blount, and Sevier counties. That is now in effect until, let's see here, until 11:45. That is for a storm that is located near Madisonville that is moving east at 30 miles per hour, could produce 60 mile per hour winds and that penny size hail. These are the storms that Todd was highlighting just a little bit ago for they're up and down the whole valley here. But that line of storms, it's hard to indicate which one is which. So let me go ahead and show you our vertically integrated liquid, because this will help a little bit with this. It's this cell right here that's moving through southern McMinn into Monroe County that has the potential to be producing possibly up to golf ball size hail. It's this cell that's up here that could be producing 60 mile per hour winds and possibly up to that penny size hail that I was just talking about there for you just a second ago. We also have storms that are a little bit farther to the north, coming through the Knox County area, into northern Blount County, right now into Maryville and into Alcoa, and then of course up into Knox County following Chapman Highway down towards Seymour. We also have a possibility of some hail there. That is where we also could be seeing those 70 mile per hour winds as that hail starts to collapse. And just a quick check on our velocity scan here first. Strong winds moving through the Dandridge area. Those are going to be getting into eastern portions of Jefferson County, northern portions of Cobb County, and northern portions of Sevier County very shortly here. This is the leading edge of that wind right there where you see that bright red color starting to show up. You can kind of see how it fans out down to the south and the east ahead of those storms right there. So heads up in Newport and Sevierville, you're about to get very, very gusty winds coming into your area along with the rain. You're already seeing the lightning strikes, and again, lots of lightning, power outages starting to add up, and this line, once it moves through, has more that's starting to develop behind it. We'll come back here and take another look at the radar in just a moment, but let me send it over to John and Robin for more information.
Cassie, thank you very much. And as we are watching these storms move to the east, we want to move to the west and check in once again in Cumberland County.
Shay Smith joining us once again to set the scene there. Hey, Shay.
Hey, John. Hey, Robin. Yeah, so I'm in the car right now because it is lightning. About a few minutes ago, probably about 10 minutes ago, we did have a huge pocket of just rain come right over us, and it was just pouring down. It only lasted probably 2 or 3 minutes, and then it just kind of moved on. But I will say that this lightning we've been seeing has really been sticking around. So it seems like it has really picked up in Cumberland County, here in Crossville. Probably, I would say maybe about 7 or 8 is when it really started to pick up. And at one point we saw a huge lightning strike here near the Buc-ee's, and about, say, 30 seconds after this huge lightning strike, all of the power at the Buc-ee's went out. It probably took about a couple of minutes for the power to come back on, but eventually, as these storms started progressing and these bands that we're seeing came into Cumberland County, we did take shelter inside of the Buc-ee's. So we were ushered into the bathrooms by the employees at the Buc-ee's. All of the customers, my photographer and I, we all went into shelter. We were there for probably about 20-25 minutes, and then we were released. But we're still here in the parking lot. We're still keeping an eye on this, and I do just want to say that even though right now things have calmed down and it seems like maybe nothing is happening, that does not mean that it's going to stay calm. That does not mean that nothing is going to continue to happen. Like I said, we're still seeing a lot of lightning, and bands with storms, they just can move in and move out, and more bands can follow them. So we will definitely be sure to keep you all updated here in Cumberland County. John, Robin.
Good for those Buc-ee's employees to take care of the customers and you guys. So, Shay, thank you very much. We'll be checking back in with you.
We're going to turn it back to our weather team now, and just a couple of questions. One being, we talked a lot about hail, and you are vastly more experienced than most of us in the damage that hail does, in particular the size. Cassie, Todd, fill us in on what raises the most concern for you.
So earlier today we had baseball size hail. That's 2.75 inches in diameter. That actually broke chunks out of the siding of a house. It cracked windshields. It did a lot of tree damage. It kind of goes through like a weed whacker and knocks the edges of the limbs off.
Yeah.
So baseball size, obviously a problem, but it starts with quarter size.
Yeah.
That's when we start to be concerned.
Yeah, quarter size. You know, going back, it used to be penny and dime, and then the National Weather Service upgraded. They skipped over nickel, but now it's quarter or larger because they found that that usually produces more of the damage, and that's the large enough size that will break out some windshields and glass, and that's why they skipped over nickel. So once you get to quarter or larger, take a look at that. Yeah, that's a look at the large hail that we had at Cherokee Lake, and again, I don't know if this is the particular one, but that's at least kind of the egg size, if not, we had baseball size hail in Bean Station earlier near Cherokee Lake, and this is a good example of some of that large hail that we had earlier. Robin?
You know, Todd. Cassie, we're used to strong storms, especially in springtime in East Tennessee.
Yeah.
But this is a level 3. We don't get level 3s that often, do we?
Not that often. A lot of times we'll spend our time with a risk of marginal low end level 1 or elevated slight risk level 2. But yeah, that gets our attention. And the reason is the parameters are there in the atmosphere to produce a higher threat and risk for damaging winds. And in this case, even some tornadoes, the large hail. And you know, we got the flag waving in the atmosphere when we saw that earlier round. Feels like yesterday now, but same day, earlier this morning. And what we just showed you, that was the first round. So the atmosphere showed us the clue that we did have that potential. Matter of fact, I think it was the day before, actually in Gatlinburg.
It was Monday.
It was Monday 2 days ago. It would be 2 days ago. Yeah.
Ping pong ball size hail.
That's right.
Up in that, actually golf ball. We had golf ball, 1.5 inch. What these also indicate, if you look at the top of the screen up here, we have how the severe weather potential, what it means. So the green means that a few storms are possible. Yellow means there's an elevated threat. Brown, which is the level 3 out of 5 that Robin was just talking about, means that severe weather is likely. Yeah. So when Todd is talking about how the potential increases when you go up in levels, it increases not only your odds of seeing severe weather, but as you mentioned, how intense those storms can be. Yeah. So us getting those severe thunderstorm warnings that are for considerable damage of 70-mile-per-hour winds, or that hail the size of golf balls or limes or hen eggs, That's what the level 3 means. And Robin, you're right. We don't get that very often here in East Tennessee, so we have to take it very seriously when we see that threat issued.
And for people who are just tuning in, we're in the middle here of this second round. You both are concerned not just about the end of this, but also the beginning of the third round that's coming overnight.
Yeah, once we move past midnight, and again, this round that we're in, kind of the second of the 3 total, and the second and third round may almost merge together. Don't know if we're going to truly see a break per se, but we'll have a little bit of a break or a lull between the two. But after midnight into the early morning hours from Thursday, generally speaking, between about probably 2 to 3 a.m. to about through 7 a.m., maybe 8 a.m. The flood watch we have in place goes through 8 a.m., but let's just say between 2 to 8 a.m. That third and final round is going to come through, and it's kind of like a layer cake, right? We've had these multiple rounds, each one's depositing some heavy rain in the soil. So now you get another round, we're building that cake, layering up. So we're getting more and more saturation in the soil, more heavy rainfall runoff. And that means, yeah, and this is coming in with additional heavy rain, we could have the higher likelihood of flooding throughout the Thursday morning hours, and particularly into the higher terrain areas where runoff and the steep terrain, where that's could become an issue as we go into the early morning.
So we were talking about this earlier, how the threats evolve throughout the night. Yeah. At the very leading edge of these lines, that's where we have the wind threat, the tornado threat, and the biggest hail threat. The individual cells that kind of come behind that, a few of them can be strong and could possibly produce more severe weather that we're seeing. However, the rain, the flood threat, as Todd was talking about with the layers of the cake, the flood threat increases exponentially as we go throughout the night. So once we start to see the severe weather threat decreasing, the rain threat increases, the flood threat increases. You're looking at the abundant lightning that we're seeing from our tower cam right here. And I mean, we already were talking about how one part of our viewing area saw 4.3 inches of rain already today. Yeah. And we still have at least another 8 hours of potentially heavy rain across the area this evening. Also, with the gusty winds that we've had across the area, we are continuing to track power outages. Blount County is now reporting almost 1,400 power outages now down in Blount County, as I was mentioning, and that's all kind of near the airport, as a matter of fact. Seeing those higher numbers picking up in that area thanks to the gusty winds. That was the considerable tagged storm with the possible 70-mile-per-hour winds that moved through that area just a little bit ago. And we're also seeing the outages up in Granger County continuing to increase, now just over 1,700. Roane County now almost up to 2,700 as well. So We'll continue to track those outages as they come through. You're looking at our Douglas Lake camera right now. Yeah. Look at the angle that rain is moving.
Yeah, sideways rain. We're kind of, and Cass, I'm going to go back to the wall. Let you kind of punch through it if you want. We're going our camera tour, but at Douglas Lake, yeah, there's the lightning looking off in the western sky and coming from screen right to left. Yeah. This just makes you want to be, I'm thankful I'm inside, right? I don't have to be out in this. And I hope you don't have to be out in that. I mean, again, it's kind of nasty outside. The lightning, yeah, look at that wind-swept rain just really coming in there. Looks like it's picking up as we speak, right? Look at that. And of course, we have the lights. We can see it off the dock here at the marina in Dandridge. But there's the look at that. Intense lightning, and every time it lightens, you can see a little bit of that darker cloud right there. That's where some of the heavy rain is continuing to come into Douglas Lake and Dandridge. And we do have, again, that severe storm that's making its way from Knoxville toward Douglas Lake and Dandridge as well. So that's a live view right there. Cass, I'll let you kind of roll through the cameras. Thank you. This is Kodak at Smoky Stadium looking south. Again, this is exit 407 right over about here. Well, we're right at it pretty much. And looking down into Sevier County, so Sevier and Pigeon Forge. But that's a look at the intense storm. And this is a look at our downtown Knoxville camera. Those storms, again, making their way especially into the western part of Knox County and down into Loudoun and Blount counties. And again, we were watching these storms coming on in. This is our tower camera, and we're looking pretty much due south. This is the sun sphere, of course, downtown Knoxville right here. This tower is located at, well, let's see, our camera's up about 1,500 feet, maybe a little bit higher, up on Sharps Ridge here in North Knox County. So we're looking south, and you can see some of the clouds right there. Again, when it lightnings, lightning in the sky. Let's just keep it singular. That's what we're looking at in the southern sky. And again, some of the intense storm clouds, the intense lightning, and that's what we're seeing. The damaging winds still possible with the heavy rainfall. And as Cassie said a moment ago, already seen over 4 inches of rain. Rainfall rates in excess of 2 inches per hour. And so we were talking about that 1-2 punch. We're still in the one with severe weather threat. And these are storm reports of what we've already seen throughout the day. And now we're merging that other heavy rainfall threat, and that will continue overnight. We have a couple of wind damage, trees down reports in Elgin and Scott County. That's continuing on Night Egg Trail. That resulted in power lines being knocked down, so we have some power outages again southwest of Huntsville and Elgin. Harriman, we have trees down on Highway 61. Time estimated by the radar there. That was early this evening with those storms coming in. Down in Athens, we have trees down, again, close to Athens. And that was that main storm that coming in, had some large hail with some damaging winds. And also Newport and Greenville up into parts of Kentucky. We do have, that's a hail report in Bell County, Kentucky. And there's a look at some few trees down in Newport. Mossheim had a hail size at that would be, let's see, ping pong ball size hail, 1.5 inch ping pong ball size hail. And again, these other storm reports as these kind of trickle in. The main line of storms now moving just to the south and east of Knoxville. So yeah, our camera views as we were looking south on Sharps Ridge and Douglas Lake and Dandridge, that's why we were seeing more of that lightning popping, and particularly from Kodak down towards Seymour. So again, as you leave Knox County, Chapman Highway into Seymour, very heavy rainfall, and continuing along 411 and Boyd's Creek Road as you make your way from Sevierville, Seymour over to Sevierville, and Highway 66 coming on down from Sevierville and toward Pigeon Forge, and then a continuing along Highway 321. Wares Valley, Townsend, some intense storms across the rest of Blount County, and continuing back toward Greenback with some of those high winds. Cassie, let me send it back to you as I get some water.
Break sometimes there, Todd. All right, so we're looking at our velocity scan, and again, we're seeing that line of wind. Check that out. See how those red colors are spreading down to the south and the east into northern Cott County, Sevier County now, getting into Blount County as well. That right along that leading edge is going to be extremely strong wind gusts coming right into the Townsend area down to Tallahassee, going to be getting into the Foothills Parkway area. That's one push of wind, and then we have these back here to the west, which also could possibly be producing maybe up to severe level wind gusts. So let me go ahead and take a look at the radar real quick just to double check, make sure nothing else is coming up here. I wouldn't be surprised if we end up getting a warning up there in parts of Sevier and into Cott counties. We'll keep our eyes on it for you. But we're seeing the possibility of up into northern Cott County, getting those winds in that 30 to 40, near Dandridge, maybe closer to 50 mile per hour range up in that area. And then a little farther down to the south along, I believe that's 411 as it goes down south there. Winds in around that 45 to 50 mile per hour range in that area, progressing to the east across parts of Blount County. I'm seeing a report from down near the Maryville area of up to 5 inches of rain per hour. That's how heavily it's raining. Very, very impressive rainfall totals that we're seeing across the area right now. We are going to continue our coverage of these storms here, and I'm going to send it back to John and Robin here for just a moment.
All right, Cassie, thank you very much, and we want to say thank you to our Fox viewers. We appreciate you tuning in. You can continue to watch us right now on WBIR as we have been watching this second wave of severe weather make its way across East Tennessee.
We have seen damage really across the region, and we're going to take you throughout all of the counties where we are covering. Our teams scattered across East Tennessee to bring you that coverage.
So thank you for watching. 10 News at 11 starts now.
News in high definition is sponsored by Premier Family Dealerships. 10 News on WBIR starts now.
And good evening once again, along with my colleague Robin Wilhoit, John Becker, tracking lots of breaking news for you on 10 News at 11, including the weather threat underway right now.
That's right. It has been a long day in our weather department. The first wave went through around lunchtime, and now we are at 11 o'clock on this Wednesday, and it is the second wave. It has made its way across the region. We want to check in with Cassie and Todd. They have been following the system throughout the night. Where does it stand now, guys?
Okay, the severe storms just passed in south and east of Knoxville continue to track on to the east southeast. Thank you, John and Robin. Good evening, folks. Thank you for joining us. Hope you're having a good, safe Wednesday. Cassie, Nall, and I in the Weather Center tracking the storms. And number one, we start with a big picture because just let me stop the radar right here. Look at all the energy in the atmosphere. I mean, Knoxville's right here, and you can see all the energy passing to the south and east. Here's a look at the radar loop. We do have severe thunderstorm warnings ongoing that do continue from Knox County and Knoxville east now into Sevier County, parts of Jefferson County, and continue to make its way east toward the mountains and also southward all the way down into Polk County. We have flash flood warnings back on the plateau as heavy rainfall has continued to develop. Now, while it looks like there's a little bit of a lull and there is a break between this main line of severe weather and some more activity that's back up north of Nashville coming back on the plateau, there's not much of a break. But again, that's what we're looking at as more of these strong to possibly isolated severe storms with very heavy rainfall will continue to be possible as we work our way through the rest of tonight. So this is the second main round of strong to severe storms, damaging winds, very heavy rainfall, the main impacts as these storms continue to work their way east-southeast. And again, here's what we're seeing right now as we stop the radar. Again, notice how the storms are just making their way south and east of Knoxville. A lot of lightning, Rogersville, Greenville, Dandridge, and continuing to make its way down into McMinn County. Again, we have brand new warnings. National Weather Service in Morristown pretty much going to get everybody else covered here, and that does include Jefferson County and also Cobb County, and we'll zoom on in and show you the very latest. So here are the severe thunderstorm warnings, and we'll bring each one of these up. Again, there's the warning for Blunt, Knox, and severe until 11:15. And again, I know the radar is very busy here, so we'll slide on over and get the very latest warning right here, as that's what we're looking at. The newest warning continues to be, again, an extension of that for Jefferson County into Cobb County right there until midnight for Cobb, Jefferson, and Sevier. So that's the latest severe thunderstorm warning from Dandridge back to Sevierville, and this will continue to work its way, again, down to the south and east. I'm going to take off the warning so you can just see that, and I'll take off the lightning as well. Here's a look at just the radar. So Dandridge, Sevierville, Townsend, and Tallahassee back down into McMinn County. Again, torrential rainfall continues to make its way through the region, and this is the main line of severe weather. But as we look upstream, Lynn, look at the radar back in Middle Tennessee. Let me stop it right here. See what we got coming? More heavy rain and possible thunderstorms will continue to be possible as we go into the overnight hours. So here's an update on our severe potential and the tornado watch that will be in place again for about another hour. It's in effect until midnight, but area-wide we have a flood watch in place until 8 a.m. Thursday. Heavy rainfall will continue off and on at times overnight. Still some pockets of severe weather, even though the main line moving through now, we still could see some pockets of severe weather overnight. And again, as far as that rainfall potential, we could see an additional some 2 to 3 inches plus across our region, and we've already had a couple to several inches widespread across the region. So that's a look at our Thursday morning. Excessive rainfall, flooding could be an issue through the morning, and then we'll finally see a break into tomorrow afternoon. John and Robin, let's send it back over to you now.
All right, Todd, thank you very much. We do have crews spread all across East Tennessee monitoring the weather conditions. We want to begin right now in Cumberland County.
10 News anchor Shay Smith joining us now. She saw the first part of these storms roll through, and Shay, you did have to take cover earlier tonight.
Hey, John. Hey, Robin. Yeah, that's exactly right. So whenever we first got into Cumberland County, at about 4:30, it was pretty calm. We weren't seeing a lot of wind. We were not seeing much rain, just a little sprinkles here and there, but it was definitely the calm before the storm. So at about 7 and 8 o'clock, that is when things really started ramping up. That's when we started seeing a lot more rain. That's when we saw some wind and a lot more lightning. And at one point, there was was a lightning strike that it had to have hit pretty close to the Buc-ee's. That's where we're at right now, because the Buc-ee's lost power, and the power was out for a few minutes. It eventually did come back on, but I would say probably about an hour after that, that is when there was some rotation in this area of Cumberland County. That is when we were under the tornado watch and warning. And so we did take shelter inside of the Buc-ee's. The employees there, along with the customers, along with my photographer and I, we did go into the bathrooms of Buc-ee's. We were there for about 20-25 minutes, just, seeking shelter, staying where it's safe, away from all of the windows, doors, everything like that. We were in the most inner part of the store. And so we were there, like I said, for about 25 minutes, and then eventually we were let out. Right now, it is back to being pretty calm. A few minutes ago, there was a band of rain that came by, and so it only lasted just a couple of minutes, but it was like a pocket of rain, just a rain cloud that came over us just for about 2 minutes, and then it dispersed. But we are still seeing quite a bit of lightning. It seems like it has started to calm down lightning-wise within the last 20 minutes, but I will say that we have been seeing some pretty consistent lightning in this area, and I think that whenever bands come through, that big band that we saw about an hour ago, it's moving on. But with storm systems, sometimes more bands are going to come through. And so we will stay here in Crossville and in Cumberland County and be sure to keep an eye on everything coming through for y'all. John, Robin?
Yes, and there is another band, another wave heading your way soon. Of course, we know you'll be up to date with what's going on by way of Todd and Cassie. Thank you so much, Shay. We do appreciate it. Communities on the Plateau and in Middle Tennessee, they have been seeking shelter throughout the evening. Around 8:30 this evening, meteorologists, they issued a tornado warning for parts of Middle Tennessee.
And again, you're seeing some video of the storms in that area. Spring Hill hit especially hard tonight. We'll bring you more as we learn more about the damage and the impact there. Again, we're moving to other parts of the region, and that includes the mountains of Sevier County.
That's right, and we turn to 10 News reporter Maria Guzman for an update on conditions there. Maria?
Hey John, hey Robin, we're inside our car, and within the last 15 minutes, rain has truly come pour down and the wind is picking up. Even some roads here are starting to get flooded. Now we're actually stationed outside of the Sevier County Emergency Operations Center just for safety. Now Sevier County is under right now a severe thunderstorm warning until 11:45 p.m. Originally it was until 11:15, but EMA has now extended. Now we've been in Sevier County all day long. We've been checking on the weather condition. We were in Pittman Center campsite earlier. That's an area that is very prone to flooding. I met a camper there who is visiting from Nashville, and he has already taken precautions as we go into those overnight hours.
It's the rising water. We've got friends here who've told us that the particular river in this area will rise quickly. So we've put away most of the outdoor stuff. We've emptied our tanks in case we got to get out of here quick. Oh, yeah,
Now, Sevier County EMA says parts of the county has already received about 1 inch of rain, and they plan to receive even more, up to 3 inches of rain. Now, first responders are keeping an eye on areas prone to flooding, like your rivers and creeks, any large body of water.
So yesterday morning it was up a little bit, but then it went back down, and it's just come up with this recent rain.
Now, to keep you safe from flash flooding, the Sevier County EMA says go to higher ground immediately, and if you're driving, turn around, as it's unknown on how deep the water is. And like I mentioned earlier, within the last 15 minutes, we've seen roads already starting to flood, a lot more water in. And tomorrow, Sevier County schools are going to be delayed by at least 2 hours for possibly poor road conditions. In the meantime, I'll send things back to you from Sevier County. John, Robin.
Maria, thank you very much. And to that point, yes, let's talk about that. Some schools definitely preparing, given the severe severe weather happening overnight and into tomorrow morning. Some school districts delayed tomorrow. Cobb County schools, they will open an hour late. Granger and Hawkins County schools, they will be on a 2-hour delay. Now, we are monitoring closings across the area. Just scan that QR code right there and you can get that entire list.
And we get you right back to our meteorologist tracking all the weather that is rolling across East Tennessee. Again, we're in this second round of really 3 rounds here this evening, and we're going to check in first with Chief Meteorologist Todd Howell. Hey, Todd.
Okay, thank you, John and Robin. And I tell you what, Cassie, Nall, and I just looking at this Sharps Ridge Tower cam and saw a bolt of lightning with about 3 step leaders coming down. You may see it again. Watch your hand, Todd. Now, yeah, that's what we're. I mean, now on a serious note, it's some dangerous lightning out there. But when you're inside and watching from a camera, it's pretty impressive. Looking off in the distance, this is looking south, and again, these are some intense storms with a lot of lightning. So again, this is what we're looking at. Again, pretty much looking south. The storms have made their way just south and east of Knoxville, but a lot of energy and some impressive lightning. Again, this is a live view from our Sharps Ridge Tower cam, and seeing those storms continuing to make their way down, and that's the lightning. And every time it flashes, you can see the storm clouds. Again, we've had some excessive rainfall. We have some new information, some latest data with our Futurecast, and that's one of the main things. We're going to show you that updated timing with our Futurecast, and we'll start with that coming up in just a moment. Matter of fact, again, let's go ahead and segue to that. Thank you very much, Cass. So here's a look at our local radar, and we'll show you some of the more recent warnings to catch up on that. One of the first warnings we do have is for Blunt, Knox, and into severe. The latest warning is going to continue until, I believe it's 11:30. Actually, the newest warning is for Cock and Greene counties and severe. It's until midnight right there. Thank you, Cock, Jefferson, and severe, I should say, until midnight. Thank you, Cass. And also for the rest of Jefferson County and down into portions of Cock County, back into severe and Blunt. Again, this whole area is being warned for damage winds in excess of 60 to 70 miles per hour. Power outages possible, down trees and power lines. Matter of fact, Cassie, you shared this with me. I'll go ahead and mention it. We can chime in again in a moment. Maryville, downtown Maryville has power out. A tree apparently fell down on a power line and caught fire. And so some of downtown Maryville getting reports of the power being out. And so again, when you have this, the wind, the lightning, and a lot of the heavy rain and windswept rains and winds moving in, this is a possibility. So unfortunately, we still could have some pockets of wind damage and power outages. Look at those wow, look at that. That's some intense winds. Remember how we were seeing that sideways rain on Douglas Lake and Dandridge? Thank you, Cass, for slowing that down. That's coming from Jefferson County into Cock and Sevier counties right now. That is a line of intense winds. That's likely exceeding 70 miles per hour. And that's near Harrisburg and far eastern and rural sections of Sevier County, Parrottsville, up toward Bybee, and down toward Hartford. Well, that's 65 and 63 right there. So I may have been a little high on that. That brighter pink, it's possible. But again, it's possible that it could be exceeding nearly 70 miles per hour plus as we see these storms making their way down Interstate 40 from Jefferson County right down into Cock County, heading toward Hartford, Newport from Parrottsville. Now, as far as the potential hail, don't see as much large hail within this line. In general, could have some smaller size hail, but damaging winds, frequent lightning, very heavy rainfall. That's a look at what we're seeing as far as the main impacts as this storm now moving its way just to the east-southeast. So, Cass, if you would, let's reset and show the bigger radar view, because what we're looking at is this initial line that's making its way, again, this round, making its way just to the southeast. Now, heads up for eastern areas. You've got the intense thunderstorm winds. Again, damage winds possible with heavy rain. Slight little lull on the plateau, but not for long. But look at what's happening back toward Nashville, Middle Tennessee. And Cass, if you don't mind stopping that just for a brief second, there's a flash flood warnings and emergency that was ongoing for north of Nashville through tomorrow morning. They've already gotten hit with very heavy rainfall. More heavy rain is coming back in. There's the flash flood warning until 10 a.m. tomorrow morning for northern Middle Tennessee, and again from Nashville north. This heavy rain is going to make its way back onto the plateau and into our area. So overnight tonight, that's one of the big concerns. Heavy rain and flooding is going to be a concern overnight through the early morning hours tomorrow. All right, we'll have much more on that coming up in just a bit. As you can see, more of the storms still to come into the overnight hours. John, Robin?
We appreciate it. We want to get to some other headlines because we have had some other news develop throughout the evening tonight.
That's right. Knox County deputies, they apparently shot a man, and investigators say that man had a gun. The confrontation happened late this afternoon.
We're going to turn to 10 News anchor Katie Inman with more on what we've learned tonight about this investigation. Katie?
John Robin, the Knox County Sheriff's Office says the shooting happened at about 4:30 this afternoon in the Halls community in North Knox County. We're showing you video now from that scene earlier today. KCSO says deputies are working to negotiate with the man who had a gun in Clayton Park right off of Norris Freeway. Deputies then shot him. Witnesses near the scene say people in the park at the time hid in the woods. Emergency crews took that suspect to a nearby hospital for treatment, but we don't know right now how serious his injuries are yet and his condition. None of the officers were hurt, and state investigators with the TBI are looking into that shooting now and what exactly led up to it. This marks the 19th shooting involving law enforcement the TBI has been called in to investigate this year. We'll share more details both on air and online as we get more information. John and Robin.
Katie Inman on the update tonight.
Well, we want to go back to our weather coverage, and we're going to go west to Middle Tennessee. They are recovering after a tornado hit earlier today. This is video. Some families lost their homes.
And that's when I hollered at everybody to get in the closet, and the next thing we knew, we heard just seen sky. My house is gone. It's just gone.
Devastating. That woman still searching for her mother and her aunt. She says they have been missing since that storm hit. And we are tracking severe conditions across East Tennessee. Again, this is some lightning in the Crossville area, and as Robin mentioned earlier, it's just been a sky show tonight.
It has been something to behold. We saw one just not long ago lighting up the sky of Knoxville. And Todd, there's really no way of counting how many strikes. We see it on when you put up your maps, just covered in lightning strikes, but I mean, we could be talking hundreds and hundreds.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Hundreds and hundreds of lightning strikes, some intense lightning, and that's what we're seeing right now. Let me show you some updated information. We still have a tornado watch until midnight, and so that's for about 44 minutes from right now. It's 11:16, and so that does include, again, as you can see, the Knoxville area and back toward the Cumberland Plateau. Just issued, though we also have a new tornado watch that's going to cover specifically Ray, Meigs, McMinn, and Monroe counties until 4 a.m. So I know that's not what everybody wants to hear, but for the Southern Valley areas, we do have a new tornado watch that's been extended. Again, it also includes Bledsoe County, if you're watching us from there, Ray, Meigs, McMinn, and Monroe counties until 4 a.m. So we have about less than 45 minutes for the tornado watch in our parts of the region. We do have, again, those scattered strong to severe storms, the first round making its way through. And as we talked about, we're going to be transitioning from a severe threat for most of our region through this late evening into that heavy rain and flooding threat as we go through the remainder of tonight. But we'll still have a chance for pockets of some damaging winds. I don't want to discount that possibility as we're seeing more of the storms. Look at this back up on the plateau. This is what we're seeing, again, back up toward Jamestown. Look how that all extends back to Nashville. And so look at all the counties in green. Here's the big flag right here. See all the counties in green? Those are flash flood warnings. And so all that's because of all that rain right there. And there's more rain to come. And so that's why we're going to see more heavy rain and potential flooding. And there's a look at the local radar as those storms are making their way now from Dandridge over toward Cobb County. Again, counties are covered up here: Sevierville, Cosby, Parrotsville, again, Newport, seeing those heavier showers and storms. Up on the plateau, again, Crossville, you got a flash flood warning that continues until 10:30, and we'll continue to see that line of showers and storms making its way through. So here's a look at our future cast. Let me rewind this and start back here with what we're seeing. This is right now at 11 p.m. and we are looking at, again, those line of showers and storms that's been making its way through the region. Now, as we move forward at 3 a.m., a little bit of a lull maybe over the next few hours before more of the activity moves back in from Middle Tennessee and across the plateau. So from 3 to 6 a.m., there's another additional round of heavy rain, maybe some stronger storms. And that's what's really going to add to the already heavy rain that we've already seen. We get a third additional round with maybe a couple more inches of rain potentially on what we've already seen. And some areas have already seen 2, 3, even 4 inches of rain. So that's what we're talking about. We could be looking at some areas seeing a total upwards of 6 inches when all is said and done. So we're looking at the heavy rainfall, excessive rainfall potential, and that could lead to the flooding that could be with us through Thursday morning. We got to basically get to about 7 to 8 a.m. The flood watch will be in place through 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. So we're talking about overnight, more heavy rain for many areas. And if you live in a flood-prone area, you need to be prepared to seek higher ground and move to a safer spot. If you're along a river that tends to flood, at the very least, you need to be able to at least wake up at times and keep an eye on that in case you do need to seek higher ground. But stay weather alert and be advised that flooding could be an issue throughout the morning hours coming up and through the overnight. So that's what we're looking at. By Thursday afternoon, we will see improving conditions. There's the flood watch area-wide. Anywhere in East Tennessee can see flooding overnight tonight through 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. And so that's a look at the potential rainfall. This is on top of what's already fallen, but additional rainfall amounts of at least maybe 1 to 2, perhaps 2 to 3 inches plus compared in addition to what we've already seen. The severe potential, again, we have that larger enhanced risk area. It has been lowered a little bit for the eastern half of the region to a level 2 out of 5, but we still are seeing some pockets of that severe weather possible. And once again, there's the tornado watch until midnight for the valley. And then once that gets dropped, we'll just have the southern valley areas that will be in place with the tornado watch until 4 a.m. So once we get to midnight, in general, this first main wave that we just saw move through right here, again, that we're going to see a little bit of improvement, but look at the thunderstorms upstream. That's going to be an issue as it tracks back into our region overnight. So as we talked about before, we averaged 4.13 inches in the month of May. For the whole month of May, some areas are going to see not only that in one day, one night, one event, but going to exceed that. More than a month's worth of rainfall in this one night, in one day. That's what we're looking at. And you can see, look at the impacts, Kentucky and Tennessee. This is where all the energy is right now. The final line, by the way, is still way back here. So that's what we still have to see move through our region and into tomorrow morning. And that's what we'll continue to see transpire as we go overnight. So there's our Thursday, 5 a.m. Again, that intense rain and that heavy rain on top of what we already seen. So the rain will be ending and will dry out by afternoon. But I'll tell you what, more than likely, the high floodwaters are going to continue. The runoff takes a while to run off, particularly in the higher mountainous terrain. So we could have flooding continue even into parts of the afternoon, even once the rain ends, because of the runoff. So that is certainly the main concern. Our forecast for tonight, thunderstorms are likely with the high winds and flooding, not only possible, but fairly likely. And as we take you through our 7-day, here's a little bit of good news. While we have a 10 weather impact day that will be in place through tomorrow morning, again, flooding can be ongoing. The good news will dry out for the most part the next couple of days, and Mother's Day weekend is looking really nice. I mean, hello, we'll check that box on the rainfall for the whole month, and hopefully we'll be able to dry out more. Temperatures look more seasonable into next week, mainly in the 70s, instead of those 80s that we've had certainly for this first part of May. John, Robin?
Todd, we appreciate it, and we want to get to this. One person died when that first round of storms hit in Claiborne County. The mayor did confirm a tree fell on a car, killing the man inside.
That's right. The sheriff says they are still looking into the death of 22-year-old Bryce Hitnick.
One of our other meteorologists, Mike Simon, is on the road right now tracking some of the power outages we've talked about tonight.
That's right. He's headed toward Blount County tracking those power outages. You can see some of the rainy conditions that he is driving through right there.
Mike, what can you tell us on the road?
Hey, excuse me. Right now, we are seeing a lot of rain that is still seeming to come down, but it's light amounts compared to earlier after all those storms came through. Frequent lightning is still happening, but off in the distance. I think the big part of the storm has already come through. I haven't seen any damage or anything yet, or even any cars that are stalled. As the heavy rain came through, though, it was coming down like a tropical downpour, at least for a short amount of time. But as soon as we get to areas that we're going to toward Louisville to see if there's any damage, we'll get back to you and let you know if we notice any of the trees down that are causing the power outages or see any other type of damage that we can come across.
Simon traveling. Mike Simon traveling tonight in Blount County. Stay safe. Mike, we'll check back in with you. And we know that seconds count in severe weather. We have seen even just a few minutes warning save lives.
That's right. 10 News reporter Olivia Daig explains how you can receive vital alerts and stay aware given severe conditions.
When severe weather comes, we want to make sure that you are prepared, and the best way to stay prepared is to stay informed, and there are two ways you can do that. The first is making sure that you've got weather alerts turned on your phone. I'm going to show you how to do that. First, you'll head into Settings, click on Notifications, then you'll scroll down to find Emergency Alerts. You'll click this and make sure that these emergency alerts are turned on. If you've got an Android, click on Settings, head to Notifications, click on Advanced Settings down towards the bottom, and scroll down all the way to Wireless Emergency Alerts. Make sure that you've got that switched on. The second is to download the 10 News app. Our meteorologists are working to get you the most recent weather information in your area. When you open your 10 News app, click the Settings icon in the top right corner. Then click Notifications. The third option should be Weather. Click on Weather and make sure you've turned on your severe weather alerts. Another reminder is to keep your phones charged. One good thing to have on hand is a portable charger to make sure that all of your devices are staying charged in case of power outages.
And also remember, you can always stay up to date with the forecast in the palm of your hand. It is free with the 10 News app. You can scan that QR code right now and download that app for free on your iPhone or your Android.
We want to throw it back over to meteorologist Todd Howe. Todd, I don't know what the situation is outside, but at least I don't hear the rain just pounding on our roof here, but certainly the lightning is still,
still
flashing.
popping
The light
off.
show is still continuing. That's right.
John, you and Robin and I and everybody at home have the same reaction. I don't know if you saw that whip pan over, but yeah, this is our downtown camera. I wanted to pan it back toward the southeast because that's where the storms are. So yeah, again, they've moved through Knoxville, and I'll widen back out for you. And we'll see some of the downtown, but if you want to get a little bit better perspective of the lightning, it's coming right up. And we'll kind of take a look at more of the sky here. Of course, I'll have to zoom back in and get some of the glare on the lights, but you can see, yeah, that's looking to the south and east of Knoxville. And again, we're seeing that lightning filling up the sky, especially as you go right there toward the mountains and foothills. So yeah, it is certainly a lightning-filled sky throughout much of the region this evening. As this latest line of strong to severe storms continues to make the way through the region. Let's see, I believe we have a new alert coming in. Let me see if I'll give that to you in just a moment. I have a severe thunderstorm warning from Monroe County just coming in until 12:30. So let's get back over to radar and we'll take a look at that and zoom on in. Again, Monroe County, new severe thunderstorm warning until 12:30. And so there it is right there. That's going to be the one for Monroe County, well, that's 11:45, but for Monroe County and into Blount County. And that's going to be in place. That one's still 11:45. Actually, I'll just have to point it out to you graphically here. It's this one right here. It does include basically Coker Creek and continuing toward from east of Tellico Plains, I should say, in far southeastern Monroe County. So that's what we're looking at, a severe thunderstorm warning, a new one that's going to go until 12:30. Indian Boundary, Bald River Falls area, Coker Creek, some of the areas included that. Up toward, again, Happy Holler and Tallahassee, and as you go from Monroe County up into Blount County, and right along the, from the Cherahela Skyway and continuing into the heart of the Smoky Mountains, that's what we're looking at. So this storm, again, 70-mile-per-hour winds. Notice it's pushing out of Tennessee mountains, will be, and continuing to push out of the mountains into North Carolina. And so that's a look at some of those warnings. We're just riding right up along the mountains and foothills. They're south and east of Knoxville, Sevier County. Again, Cocke County, Cocke, Jefferson, severe thunderstorm warning till midnight. And Greene County, you have some strong storms from Camp Creek and Horse Creek, Tusculum south of Greenville, and up toward the Tri-Cities, and up toward, again, toward Johnson City and Gray. But that's Greene County. You do not have any warnings currently in place. Now, again, A reminder coming up, we do have a tornado watch until midnight, but that's going to be expiring. Now, some good news. Once we get past midnight, it looks like overall, for most areas, the overall severe weather threat will have diminished. So that is some good news across the region. The overall severe weather threat will have diminished once we move just past midnight. However, there is a new severe thunderstorm warning that will continue to be in place for the far southern valley until 4 a.m. So that's what we're looking at, and I'll show you that right now. We still have that potential, again, for severe weather across southern areas that's going to continue to the early morning hours. So once we get past midnight, again, the severe thunderstorm warning the tornado watch that's in place until midnight, that will expire. But here's the latest watch for until 4 a.m. That's going to be for McMinn, Monroe, Ray, and Meigs counties. But a humble reminder, again, we are looking at that potential for flooding, and that's a look at what we're seeing as far as the additional rainfall. And that's going to be concerned as we go overnight tonight into the early morning hours. So we'll be here again throughout the night. We're going to be overlapping meteorologists with Rebecca Sweet and Tavian Whitehurst coming in early in the morning. So we'll keep you updated throughout the night. Have a way to receive alerts. You can go ahead and go to bed. Again, this first main line of storms coming to an end, but you still need to have a way to receive alerts. And most important, if you live in a flood-prone area, you need to stay weather alert and keep an eye on the water near your area. You may need to seek higher ground and have a plan to evacuate and get out of there, because we are going to see more heavy rain overnight into the morning hours.
Yeah, and that timing in the morning hours, people heading to work, they need to be very aware.
Yeah, very aware. A lot of water is going to be on the roadways. Again, the ground is saturated with more storms moving in, so expect flooding. We'll hope for the best, but expect the
And Sevier County continues to be under severe thunderstorm warning. It was actually extended just a few minutes ago until midnight. It was originally at 11:15, and then it was extended to 11:45, and now midnight, and we are continuing to be inside our car outside of the Sevier County Emergency Operations Center, where they are monitoring conditions. Now, they tell me no major impact yet, but they are concerns of overnight for flash flooding, those damaging hail, and those damaging high winds. Now, the county has already seen about an inch of rain, and they can plan to receive up to 3 overnight. Now, to keep you safe again from flash flooding, Sevier County EMS says to be on higher ground immediately, and if you're driving, just to turn around and try to stay out of the roads, as this rain is going to be coming in and now. But for the meantime, we're going to continue to keep you updated. As for schools tomorrow, they will be starting 2 hours later for those potential poor road conditions. We will send things back to you from Sevier County and keep you updated. John, Robin.
All right, thanks for that update, Maria. We appreciate it.
We want to turn back to Mike Simon, meteorologist Mike Simon, on the road for us in Blount County. We did hear that report that a downed tree in Maryville had knocked out power, at least in the downtown area. Mike, fill us in on where you are right now.
Oh, hey, sorry about that. But right now we are in Louisville. We have noticed we've been passing through some debris, so there has been some gusty winds with twigs and some of the branches and stuff down, which shows there had to be quite a bit of wind through here. Also, some of the roads, we're having some ponding on the areas, and mind you, this has gone through a long time ago, so the road is still having some of the water passing over it in some areas. We haven't found any power outages yet. We noticed that at least downtown, we passed City Hall there. It looked like it was fine. They have power, but we are headed out a little bit further down Old Louisville, or which road is this? Lowe's Ferry. Tim Dale is here, Lowe's Ferry Road, and we're going to try to scope out whether or not there's any more damage in our path. So at this moment, we haven't seen any hail, but we do get frequent lightning. We're still having some moderate rain to light rain, but and some ponding on the roadways. But other than that, haven't seen any damage just yet. So we'll keep you informed. Back to you.
Right. Mike Simon live for us in Blount County, just assessing what he is seeing there. Has seen some evidence of some leftovers, if you will, from the storms, but nothing significant at this point.
We're going to turn back to Chief Meteorologist Todd Howell, who is tracking the storms. And Todd, what we've been lucky with tonight is all of our live cameras have really given us a good show of what's happened 360 around East Tennessee.
Yeah, no doubt about it. We'll take you back to our downtown Knoxville camera and appreciate meteorologist Mike Simon being out there. Want to be safe and certainly keep our crews safe as well. Heading down toward Maryville, where we do have reports of power outages in downtown as a tree fell across a power line and caught fire. And so that's got some downtown areas in Maryville without power. We have other pockets of power outages. We'll continue to bring that to you. We take you live to our downtown Knoxville camera. We'll look into the south and east, and again, seeing some of the lightning that's continued to pop toward the mountains and foothills. Some good news is that the heart of this first line of storms, it is progressive, and that intense lightning, again, we like to take a look at the bigger picture right here. Look at all those storms, all that lightning that's making its way just south and east of Knoxville. And so that's what we're looking at as we zoom on in. Again, a tornado watch will be in place until midnight, but we'll take that off and stop the radar right here. There's a look at the storms that continue to work their way, again, from basically Greenville down toward Newport, Pigeon Forge, Gatlinburg, down toward Tellico Plains, south of Etowah now in McMinn County, into the mountains of North Carolina. So we're mainly talking about mountains and foothills, seeing the most intense line of storms. They're moving southeast, and those intense line of storms will soon be out of here. Okay, so there's a little bit of a lull after this main line has moved through, and that's what we're seeing from Crossville, Rockwood, Oak Ridge, Tassel. Shay Smith reporting from Crossville at the nearby Buc-ee's there, and saying not much rain. That's because of the lull. But if you look back in Putnam County and Monterey, there are thunderstorms redeveloping. Now, these are non-severe as of the moment, and that's some good news as far as the severe threat, but we do have the potential for flooding. Notice Jamestown and back into the counties near and north of Nashville. See all these counties right here that are shaded in green? Those are flash flood warnings. And see the thunderstorms redeveloping? Notice, yes, these are non-severe. We don't have the severe thunderstorm warnings. We don't have the tornado warnings with these. And that is some good news as far as severe threat. The problem, though, each one of these, while they could contain some strong wind gusts, I don't want to minimize that. We still could see some pockets of isolated severe. But the main threat is these are dropping heavy amounts of rain. And so we're going to continue, and that's why we have these flash flood warnings sprinkled about in Middle Tennessee, and all that's still got to move through our neck of the woods. So as we come back to radar, again, here's what we're seeing. We do have those heavier showers, non-severe, that are redeveloping from the plateau, so we're not going to see too much of a lull. Let me take you to our future cast. And this is what we're looking at as we take you from right now into the overnight hours. I'll kind of walk it through. So here's 1 a.m., an hour and a half from right now. Again, more of those showers and even the thunderstorms. Notice how they're kind of redeveloping as we go back to our west, coming off the plateau. There's 4 a.m. now. And as we work our way closer to 5 a.m., there's that added additional layer of heavy rainfall on top of what we've already seen. And what we've already seen is certainly some heavy rainfall. Matter of fact, here in the valley in Knoxville, we had at one point earlier today, we had over an inch of rain. Let me see if I can bring an updated total at McGee-Tyson Airport, just under 2 inches, 1.8 inches at McGee-Tyson Airport right now. And back to the Oak Ridge, you've had just over 1.5 inches. And so, yeah, we've had at least that 1.5 inches to almost 2 inches of rain in many areas, but in some areas have had even upwards of 4 inches in one part of Bledsoe County earlier. So, very heavy rainfall rates. Heavy rain is possible through early Thursday morning. And again, I can't emphasize this enough. When that heavy rain continues to move into the mountains and foothills, you're going to have rapid rises and a lot of runoff, and it's going to take a while for all that rain to come down the mountain and fill up the rest of the creeks, streams, and rivers. So we could have ongoing flooding issues issues and high water issues across many parts of our region, even well into the Thursday morning hours. So that's what we're looking at as far as that flood watch that is going to continue again until 8 a.m. until 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. Let me take you back and show you what we're looking at as far as our latest radar. And I want to show you, talking about how much rain has fallen, and we'll take a look at the observed rainfall amounts. Here's what we're looking at. Now this is, let me make sure that's on set to a 24-hour total there. I believe it is. And that's what we're looking at right now. That is, how much rain has occurred, observed rainfall. And again, that's a 24-hour total. So we're talking about, and I'll just do some select totals, between Lenoir City back into Roane County, 4.5 inches. Take a look at this back in Middle Tennessee. Over 5.5 inches of rain has fallen. Just south and east of Knoxville, again, nearly 3 inches. Now, again, this is a total from the last 24 hours. It is estimated by Doppler radar. We could have what's called a little bit of hail contamination when you have a lot of ice mixed in with the heavy rain. This may be a little overdone, but nonetheless, it gives you an idea of how much rain has fallen across our region. And the good news, again, a lot of this is going to be pushing out. By the time we get into tomorrow afternoon, we're going to see that moving on out, and then we'll see improving conditions by the time we get into our Thursday afternoon, and especially Friday, Saturday, into Mother's Day weekend. Don't know how much sleep we'll all get tonight, but something to look forward to. Good, peaceful, and restful weather heading our way into Mother's Day weekend. It looks really nice.
In the 70s. Well, when you have severe storms like we've had tonight, you can almost expect there are going to be power outages, and indeed there are. Let's run through a few of those right now. You're seeing Granger County, about 14, almost 15,000 people without power.
Also, Roane County, Blount County, Cumberland County, we're rolling through those outages. McMinn County on that list as well. So a few thousand people without power in those counties, as you see on our screen, as Ayana works through that. Now, KUB, that manages most of the power here in the Knoxville area, still showing very few people without power. So that's some welcome news that most people in the Knoxville metro area do have power right now.
Very good to hear. All right, all day long, our viewers, you're the best. You have been sending us pictures of what you have dealt with, what you've seen throughout this day of severe weather. And take a look at that. In Jefferson City, a very, very big hailstone right there. That from Sylvia Pratt. Sylvia, thank you so much for sending that in. That really gives you a perspective, doesn't it?
Anytime you can do that, and Todd and Cassie will tell you if there's a way you can put a coin next to it so we can get an idea of the size and the perspective. In your hand shows you, it's basically baseball size. For some of you, you endured that today. So it's been a longer day for many of you who had to put up with that.
That's exactly right. And if you have pictures that you would like to send our way, please do. Just send them through the WBIR app. It's very simple. It's very easy. Guys, we want to send it right back now to meteorologist Todd Howe. Todd, it has been a long day for our whole weather team. Thank you guys for keeping us safe and keeping us informed.
100%, absolutely. We'll do our very best. You know what? We're all in this together. We say that a lot, but it's very true that we simply want everyone to be safe, and we all get through this together, and then we'll look forward to the brighter and better weather days ahead. This is our live Gatlinburg camera. We're seeing those storms, again, that are moving into the mountains. So even though it's dark and obviously you can't see a whole lot, it's heavy rain as well. But just look it up. There it is, right there. Again, just another example of a lot of the lightning that's continuing to pop. This is Interstate. This is the Watt Road camera at TDOT, frozen up earlier, but it was pretty impressive earlier as well. And same story at Cedar Bluff. Not a lot of traffic out there right now, but again, that's a frozen shot from earlier. So let's show you what's happening again right now. This is our live downtown Knoxville camera. And again, we are seeing those storms that have continued to make their way off to the south and east. Just as I switch the cameras to Sharps Ridge, you can see that lightning. So again, there's the downtown camera. camera. Here's a look at our Smokies camera at the Smokies Stadium, I should say. And here's a check of the Douglas Lake camera at Dandridge Ridge. And no input signal. That means we got a lot of high winds that were moving through there earlier. So, yeah, that could be impacting the camera. Hopefully it gets back up. But we are going to be talking about this showers and thunderstorms, the main line moving through. Again, some good news. The tornado watch that is in place until midnight tonight for parts of much of the plateau and Central Valley. That's going to be expiring soon. Just a little over 15 minutes from right now. So what are we talking about? We're talking about, and I'll basically just kind of highlight it right here, if the areas I'm drawing in general are going to be discontinued from the watch. So if you take these counties in red away, then what's left, and I'll do the same thing for the remaining counties, what's left in the tornado watch starting at midnight, unfortunately it's going to run to 4 a.m., but this is the area that's going to have continued severe weather. So the main round of severe weather is continuing to kind of move on to our south and east. We'll still have some pockets of isolated severe weather possible, but then we turn our attention to that second part of the 1-2 punch, severe weather first, heavy rain and flooding second, and a flood watch is in place until 8 a.m. As we've been talking about, additional rainfall, this is a model that keeps updating, of at least 1 to 2 inches, if not 2 to 3 inches plus. And so we could be looking at some 4 to 6 inch rainfall amounts. Again, well, we just showed you a Doppler radar estimate just west of Crossville that had almost 5.5 inches. And so that's what we're looking at as far as potential. So just to kind of wrap that up, here's a look at the big picture of those storms that will continue to exit out of the region after tomorrow morning, but flooding could be an issue early still. So tune in tomorrow morning and we'll keep you updated on that. We'll be here throughout the night as well. And then we'll see improving conditions as we get into our Thursday. So again, thunderstorms continue to be likely tonight. Heavy rain and flooding will be the main concern through tomorrow morning. We have a 10 weather impact through the morning, then drier tomorrow afternoon and improving by Mother's Day. John, Robin?
All right, Todd, Cassie, thank you so much.
And we appreciate you staying up late with us and staying informed. Again, Todd and Cassie and our team will be here throughout the night, and we'll see you back here at 4:30 on 10 News Today.